dialed in to Box and Brews, you might hear something you can use. Like tips on your cash or tips on the suds. You're gonna want to use the smarts of these studs. Cause they know the brews, and they know the box, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks. So listen up, cause shit's not funny. And save yourself some beer money. Bucks and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks and brews.
Bucks and Brews.
Welcome back to Bucks and Brews. Nick,
David,
this is a little different.
I can see you and touch you.
So for anybody who's been listening lately, Nick has not been in studio for a multitude of reasons.
No, dude, say like you and I. It's funny because like we both either have nothing or we're both just everything's hitting the fan all at once. So, but we make it a priority to try to make these happen.
Well, I mean, the show has gone on, so that's good.
It has.
So before we get into tonight's episode, Nick,
Yeah.
what you drinking?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. All right. So, I was gifted a new Glarus variety pack containing New Glarus Totally Naked, which is what I'm starting with. We tried that real quick before we hopped on this live.
Very good.
Yeah, say really nice in the nose. And then so you compared it a little to a Bud Light.
Yeah,
I went
much better Bud Light.
I went more to like a Heineken aspect, or
Way better than Heineken too. Yeah.
you know, somewhere around that type, like because that flavor profile, I guess, to me kind of goes that way. Let's see here. New Glarus Moon Man. New Glarus Coffee Stout.
Well, that sounds good.
And of course, the number one best that's not Wisconsin Belgian Red is New Glarus Spotted Cow. Which, if you haven't had Spotted Cow and you're in the Midwest, because again, New Glarus only sells in Wisconsin,
We do.
you need to get your hands on that, right? I mean, that's good trade bait for places outside of here. I love Spotted Cow. I do. It's great drink, and I could have 50 of them.
I'm going with one of my wife's favorite beers.
Oh, good.
I have from Blake's the caramel apple cider.
It's not overly caramel even. We've had it before.
It's not overly caramely, but it is very good. Mike, what do you have?
All right, now I'm starting with, I've got it's Revolution Brewing
Mm.
Freedom of Speech, which is a sour with some peach to it. I've got a different Blake's chilling in the freezer right now, trying to get cold enough to drink, doing the little trick where you wrap it with like the wet paper towel to get it in, get that cold in there a little faster. So got to make sure I look into that. And then I feel like I need to before. I've got a couple cider boys in the cooler, and
Yeah, science.
Revolution Brewing is a brewery we need to go check out
It is. I fully agree.
in Chicago.
I'm all right with this. Because you're aficionado, right?
Yeah.
He's the
Brewmaster.
marketing guy.
Oh, is he
there.
the marketing
he,
guy?
he was the CFO,
Yeah.
and now he's the marketing. So
So I'm gonna take a wild guess. Shot in the
oh,
dark.
wait, can I
wild
say what
fucking
he's
guess.
drinking? Can I say what he's drinking?
Okay, Mike, you take the guess.
Oh, I've got to imagine it's City of Lansing tap water.
And I would guess it was poured directly from the tap.
and it's in a white mug.
Not quite.
Oh,
a red Dixie cup.
Well,
Right.
supporting a local industry, because not far from where I'm standing right now is Dark Container Corporation in Mason, Michigan, and they make the cups that I'm drinking this out of. So between that and making the most of my City of Lansing water bill that comes in the mail electronically every month, I'm supporting the local businesses.
Good for you.
So we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Put the dig on me because I have
Before-
nothing local, right? Like, thanks.
Make your brother get a camera
you're-
at some point, David.
Huh?
He should make his brother get on camera.
Oh, he
at some
should. I
point.
missed the hell out of Daniel. We need to get down there at some point when life slows the fuck down.
Yeah, definitely. We'd
Your
love to have
logo
you.
is local.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, the stuff I'm wearing.
Your glass is local.
Mhm.
So before we get into tonight's specifics and talk about some of the new stuff Bucks and Brews is doing, I asked a question of Mike and Nick a couple of weeks ago. Do we remember this?
Your porch?
No.
Oh, I
Well,
got
that's
called out on that one already. A couple weeks ago. What else did you ask? What I was drinking? I answered that.
No. This would be a baseball related question.
Ooh.
Why the Cubs will never win another World Series?
No, it wasn't that. It was the father and son duo.
Oh, yes. Yep. I
That hit-
remember that one.
Was it over 40 home runs? Did we decide?
Yeah.
David, I would like to ask you, the father-son duos that have hit over 40 home runs.
There's three of them.
Three of
There's
them.
more than
huh?
three.
Okay.
What
I'm
about
not
five?
gonna
There's
spend
five. That's right.
5.
5.
Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'll probably not get a single one. But let me have a couple quick guesses here, right off the top of my head. One would be maybe Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr.
Everybody guesses that. Senior never had it.
Never had it. Okay, well then
Go
I'll
on.
move on to a much more closer to home combo, and that would be Prince Fielder and Cecil Fielder.
Absolutely.
Yo.
Dead on.
Okay, good. Oh boy, let me see here.
It goes back
Um,
into the like probably around the same time frame as like Griffey that you were wrong on.
Okay, so we're talking about like early 90s, late 80s.
Maybe into the
2000s.
70s with the dad.
How about Bonds?
The Bonds boys, yes.
Yep,
Barry and
Bobby
Bob.
Bonds and Barry Bonds.
Oh,
Is
Yes,
that
they did.
that's okay? Well, I
Mr.
got
Levine
two.
was
You
was
did.
amazed by the one that I got that he didn't.
I was
expect
amazed
to
by the
get.
one Mike got. There were two that I could not get.
Okay. Well, then I've got to get one more to equal you, Dave. Well, what about
Really easy.
the Ripkins?
Ooh, no.
Nope.
No, didn't think so. None of them were power hitters, but what the heck? They were in a story I heard on the radio yesterday. So by golly, the name is fresh to mind.
Only all those Robinsons were actually related.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
I will save you the time, even though I know you won't guess this. It is not the Bears either.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not the Bears. No, Dale did not hit very many home runs.
No.
Yogi, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to spend too
You're
much
all right.
time
It's like,
on
well,
this.
just real quick. I mean, right? So he's a young kid. He's a junior. His father's a senior. The young kid is, I don't know, 4 years in now, probably.
And
Because we've
played
got two
very
so far,
recently.
right?
The dad did play.
The
Very
dad
recently.
played very recently.
They might have.
Big power hitter.
They might have got big power. But overlap. The young
He's
kid's
got
a big
two of
power
them right so far, right?
He does.
Yep.
One is an active player, if I remember right.
That is-
Uh,
Son.
two were active.
Okay.
Okay.
Two were active ball players.
One
One
is
in the
well
American
known
League
right
and
now
one
for
in the
power
National.
hitting.
Yes.
Now I'll give you another hint. Let's say one of them. One of them is, let's say,
It's kind of like the Griffies, where they have the same first and last
Yep.
name. So
let's
it's a
say senior and junior.
So I'm thinking of Marquise Grissom.
Nope.
No. It sounds like a Russian name.
It does sound
First
like
name.
a Russian name.
the first name.
The first name is Russian.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Bingo.
There you go.
Guerreros.
Senior
And
and junior.
Vladimir can be it's not always a Russian name, but yep. Okay. Vladimir Guerrero.
Yeah,
The
okay.
same name as Putin, basically.
Yeah. So
You got two left.
with help, I've equaled you, Dave. So that
Yes.
means something to me.
Mike,
The
do
only
you wanna
reason
give
why
him-
I thought of even the one is because he was a Cub for a while. The son
he was a Cub for a while, and that was one of the ones I couldn't get. Mike, do you want to share that one?
Please.
Moises and
Felipe.
Alou.
The Alous. Okay.
And the one
Yeah.
that nobody can get. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Senior.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Nobody could get that one. And I'm like, we're gonna have the professor on. I have to throw this out there because we're all big baseball fans.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I knew you would. I knew you'd love that little trivia there.
Definitely. Definitely. I was listening to a Cubs game earlier this summer on the radio, and they had a really interesting one on there. And I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to attempt to do it word for word. But the long and short of it was, and only radio broadcasters would spend the time to discover this. So I think it was 1983 or 84, they were saying, was the first time there was a Grand Slam home run in the All-Star game. And it's just bizarre. I guess the guy that gave up the meatball, the pitcher, His daughter ended up marrying one of the guys that was playing on in the Cubs game that particular day. It might have even been Yan Gomes, actually, even though he's from Brazil originally.
Mhm.
But something odd like that, I'm thinking to myself, who the hell thinks to look this stuff up? But we're baseball people, and the answer is we do.
Yes, we do.
The weird thing is I seen one kind of like what the fact that you're saying today. I want to say it was like ESPN, and again I'm gonna get names completely wrong, but it was Serena Williams in 1994 won a Grand Slam or whatever it is.
It was Serena Williams in 2002
and then
or 2001, one of the two.
Sure, and then did it again.
She won the Grand Slam.
Yep.
Pujols hit a homer.
There you go.
And two people got base hits or something.
Yep.
And in 21 or 22, whatever it was,
Now,
Serena won a Grand Slam.
Yep.
Pujols hit a homer, and their kids got singles.
August 29th. Yeah, it was August 29th of whatever year, and then August 29th, and I was like, you're down to the specific day.
Yeah.
Like, how dumb is this that you compared tennis to
baseball?
And I'm like, this is just like, I have more things to do in my life. If you asked me that trivia fact and I lost $1 million because I didn't know that what the three play, like still even at this point in my life, I don't care. I'm just like, wow.
But honestly,
Yep.
I believe why Moise sticks out to me is because that was the fan interference during the National League Championship Series.
Steve Bartman.
He was the one who was had the opportunity to catch that ball, and
which he was never going to catch, and then he threw a hissy fit like a fucking baby.
Mhm.
He was never going to catch that ball, and Bartman's not even the only one that touched it. But
no,
the only one that got kicked out.
Yeah, he didn't get kicked out. They had to escort him out because people were going to kill him.
Yeah, that's right. And
Ridiculous.
Now, when you go to Wrigley Field, everybody's got to go to the seat.
Yeah,
I did it when I was there a few years ago, and see, that's where he was sitting. Oh yeah, I mean it's one of 40,000 other seats in the stadium, but there it is.
So this trivia question actually came from something that I will get totally fucking wrong, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. So it was a guy that was talking on a AAA broadcast. He broadcasts for I'm going to get it wrong, but let's say it's the Modesto A's, okay? Just because I know it's someplace in California. He's a AAA announcer, or at least on the West Coast. And how he got his position was in like 1972 or something. He went to George Steinbrenner and said, "Hey, I need to make a reel of me calling a baseball game. Would you be able to just stick me in like a booth and record this for me?" And Steinbrenner went, "Sure, not a problem." And from there, he got like his first minor league job, which then got him the next job that he was at for like 50 years. Yeah, and he's just now retiring, and he brought up that trivia question, which is how I got it. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, real quickly, I've got one more if I can.
Yes.
So I heard this yesterday, I think driving home from work, and the longest baseball game in history. It involved the Pawtucket Red Sox, who were a AAA affiliate of, the Boston Red Sox.
No, I figured it would be the New York Yankees for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And it happened I think it was 1981. And the game ended up being a 33-inning game.
Jesus.
32 of which were played from the first inning through the 32nd inning. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, the umpires said, well, we're going to have to come back and finish this one, which they did a couple months later. Now, here's the really cool thing about that. On the field at the time, Cal Ripken Jr. and Wade Boggs.
Nice.
Yep, playing for the Pawtucket Red Sox. So isn't that just something? And the game started at like 8 o'clock. They called her after 32 innings at 4 o'clock the next morning. And then again, it was still a tie, so they had to come back a couple months later, and that only took 1 inning. So
imagine if that was a game on at the majors with like TV, breaks and everything like that. I mean, it was that long, that many hours get through that many innings when it's not televised. And you imagine like all the breaks for that, it would have been like at 4 o'clock in the morning, they would have called it and it would have still been in like the 20th inning.
A World Series, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I can remember probably, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, maybe it's 5 years ago, listening to a Tiger game. They were playing the Blue Jays, and I think that one went into like 17 innings.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable. And the best extra inning games I've ever listened to was, and you'll have to get this, this involves time zones. So the Tigers were playing out on the West Coast. I was in Europe at the time. I was in the Netherlands, which is 6 hours ahead of us here in the Eastern time zone. And that would put it at what, 9 hours ahead of West
You could have
Coast.
basically woken up at like 4 o'clock your time there, and it would have been starting the game or whatever on the West Coast.
Yes. So I got up at like about, I don't know, 6:45 in, Central Europe time. And I thought, you know what? I've got the MLB app on my phone. What the fuck? I'm going to see if the Tiger game is still on. They're out west. It'd be late. But so sure enough, they were still playing. And on top of that, it was a extra innings game. So it was something marvelous about going for a walk around a couple little towns in the Netherlands on the outskirts of Amsterdam, listening to a Tiger game that's gone into extra innings, 6,000-7,000 miles away on the west coast of North America. So extra innings are cool sometimes.
They are. So
They helped a rain delay in extra innings helped
17 minutes in the rain wiped away 110 years of drought. Was it 110? It was more than that. It was 108.
It was really funny.
What?
I was just watching Rookie of the Year.
You were. I have never seen that movie.
Oh, yeah, honestly, I've been watching a lot of movies from when I was a kid. They're not as cool as when I was a kid.
I'm surprised you've never seen it when it actually it involves the Cubs.
It does involve, and it's me as a coach. That's why I watch it all the time, right?
Daniel Stern or Gary
Yeah.
Busey?
Daniel Stern,
Okay.
but Gary.
One thing while we're still on like sports for a little bit,
Yeah.
you may like this, Mr. Levian.
Yes, sir.
I found, of course, Wordle is like the big new thing, but there's this sports game called Chuckle, where you get basically 6 clues to guess, a sports figure or a sports team, and it's mostly your main sport. So, and they do daily things like the Wordle does. So, just something to think about if you're ever like, hey.
So I wouldn't say this soccer player was Alexi Lalas or some shit like that nobody would fucking know but me.
It's always everything I've gotten in. It's actually been basketball, football, and baseball. So
Even
Alright,
easier to know. So
let's see.
let's get to some Bucks and Brews news.
I have a special guest.
We do. We'll get to that too.
Oh, I was talking about Mr. Siwik.
I was too, but we'll get to that in a second. I got Bucks and Brews news.
Oh,
So we started a Discord,
yeah, we
which
did.
nobody knows.
We totally did.
Nobody knows what the fuck that is, including my co-host Nick has no fucking clue. So Discord is like this kids messaging or message board type thing. It's like Reddit. It's more private.
It's on my phone. It's called this.
So
we started pizza.
we started a Bucks and Brews Discord so that we can talk to people that are like us and want to talk financial stuff or show ideas, and that way we have a general place to go and park our thoughts and crap and hopefully bring it up on here. So we started that. If you want to get into Discord, just reach out to Bucks and Brews. Our email is bucksandbrewsllc@gmail.com.
Okay.
So find us there. Our Patreon, I went and revamped.
Okay.
So if you want to support us, $3 a month, we'll give you a shout out in the show notes. We'll give you a shout out on air for that month specifically, and you'll get access to our previous TikTok lives where Nick and I talk about stupid shit and trivia and send some swag out to people.
So we have sent a bunch of swag. to
We
people.
have.
We enjoy trivia here.
I have not sent swag to the professor because at some point I'm going to take him some shit.
And then we're gonna
No,
listen, bro.
yeah, we're going to take.
We had a plan, and then they got COVID.
Yeah, they got COVID, and then
Way to go.
everything in our lives got fucked after that. we haven't been able to do that, but that's going to happen.
I have
And
so much
we
freedom in my
Can't
life.
wait to have you over here. You know where we live, so
I-
anytime. Just
I miss both of you. I've not seen the twins since I want to say 2018.
yeah, the
It
last
was
time
before the business. It was probably 2018.
Yep, I saw you in 2018 on the way back from a conference I went to in Grand
Yes.
Rapids. And I think that you and Dawn came over here that spring.
Yes.
And so yeah, it's been
Too
4 years.
long.
Yep,
Seems way too long.
way too long.
Way too long.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on air. David and Daniel are my oldest friends.
Yep.
I've known them since like kindergarten or first grade.
I keep going out to Lansing, and I never find time to actually go out and eat food because I mean it's an hour and something drive, and then I have to work.
And you're
then I have to
working.
get back because I'm like I'm tired of being out here. So, but I will
Well-
be out there again soon. I think
Need to make a trek. That's all I know.
tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, so I'll be out there. again
I'm working all weekend.
next week.
Lucky me. Saturday though.
You like how my brain is just literally on one type of a topic, and I'm sitting here going, "Yep, okay."
Monday, I'm grilling on the new porch.
No shit.
Yes.
Oh,
And having some beverages. If you're free, you're
Not
more
be
than
in
welcome
town.
to come over.
my
That's
fault.
fine.
I may
Fuck you.
leave my kids at home by themselves. Just come to that.
I will be.
I don't think they'll want to go.
I mean, they're more than welcome to come, but
I understand they're more than welcome to come. It's just I don't think they'll want to come.
honestly, the only one that might come is Max, because I can't see your daughter coming at all.
Does she hate you that much? Huh?
Max,
Everybody hates me that
mean,
much.
If Max could hook up to your Wi-Fi
I don't hate
and
you.
game inside your house, yes.
I mean, he could do that anytime he
Same
wants.
thing with my daughter. She would come if she could hook up to your Wi-Fi and do things in your house too.
I mean, that if they want to, they can. So, Nick, you do. Our guest is one of our favorite people.
He is
One of our most frequent guests. I'm building it up because
Say,
I think the world of him. He's shares a nickname with a great Chicago Cubs pitcher. His nickname is the Professor.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And
And whether he likes that nickname or not doesn't fucking matter because that's what we call him.
he still shows up here. That
He
damn it.
does.
He's becoming a guy who I find more and more interesting, even though I haven't known him very long. But I enjoy his conversation.
He always has great information.
Yeah. And tonight's topic I'm really excited about because it kind of hits towards his, playing field
Well,
because we like baseball analogy.
we do.
So-
Professor Siwik reached out to me and he goes, "If you want to talk student loan forgiveness, let me know." And I said, "Well,
say,
funny you should mention that."
say, come on, buddy.
Well, thank you. The introduction is very nice. I appreciate that. And I always have fun on the program. And so, of course, last week, I guess it would have been probably about a week ago today, actually,
Yeah.
the president announced his plan to put forth some type of a student loan forgiveness plan. And there's sort of been the immediate knee-jerk reaction that people on an issue that actually it surprises me that this would be polarizing. I mean, it does. And I'm not a person who is, well, ignorant of the political situation of the United States right now, but this one really seems to be bizarre in sort of the camps that are being built in terms of what side of the aisle people tend to fall on. And I think the reason for that is because over the last probably 30 years, especially, this country has undergone a very previously unthinkable political transformation where now the overwhelming majority of Democratic Party voters are college educated,
Mhm,
and many of them have advanced degrees.
mhm.
And the Republican Party has turned into a party that attracts working class people and folks that do not have a lot of formal education. And that is a complete reversal of the way the American political structure worked for a long time, 100 years actually. So now, because of that, the constituency, if you will, that Joe Biden is probably most appealing to are to some extent, although this is something I want to get into here, more benefit will benefit more from the student loan forgiveness than maybe those that didn't vote for him. But I don't want to overstate that, because that is a simplification of this, that when you look into it a little bit further, it's not actually entirely the case. And the other, so that's one thing that I've noticed about this, is it's becoming politicized in a way that, again, I'm surprised it has. But that leads me to the second point, and that is there's been a lot of dollar figures that have been thrown out that, oh, this is going to cost this much money, it's going to cost that much money, it's going to benefit these people, it's going to benefit those people. And I've gone ahead and looked up some data, some statistics that I thought, well, you know, I got to look into this a little bit further, because I have my own personal experience with student loan debt, and that's great. But you know what? Nobody cares about me. Let's talk about the trends as a whole and what other folks maybe are going through. And so here's a few things to consider. All right. Now, I have the White House's website pulled up right now, by golly, doing a little bit of pre-show research. And according to the White House student loan cancellation area of their website, the vast majority of the people that would benefit from some or all of their student loan debt being canceled earn less than $75,000 a year.
Mhm.
So I know that I heard 2 or 3 stories and read probably twice or 3 times that many online over the last week that have suggested that, well, this is a program that's going to benefit disproportionately people who don't actually need it because they already make lots of money. And it appears to be that's not actually the case, unless you consider $75,000 or less to be quote unquote lots of money. And so that's one thing that I think is just not true, that I've read quite a bit about, is that this is some big handout to people who already have a lot of money, because we all know that, and I'm speaking sarcastically, that people that go to college end up making 6-figure salaries when they're 24 years old. And if they don't want to pay their loans back, it's because they're deadbeats. It's not because they can't afford it. That is not true. But then that brought me to a second thing I wanted to consider here as well, which is how much money is this actually going to cost the taxpayer? That's a very complicated question to answer. And here's why. Because the nature of debt is such that it is a cost to somebody at some level that is not incurred at one time. And it's not paid back at one time. And so, as a quick example, let's just say John Doe took out a $20,000 loan in 1995, okay? The federal government in 1995 loaned him the $20,000 in a hypothetical example. In 1995, on their books, they have a $20,000 debit, a debt that they have incurred. So they've lost $20,000 in revenue or in expenses at that point. They've spent it in expenses. Now, in the books for 1995, then there's $20,000 of negative that came out of there. But what happens when we get to the year 2022? And now 20 some years have passed. That $20,000, if it was paid back over a course of probably 10 years or more, with interest attached to it. And as any loan, the government is no different. They intend on making some money off the loan. So the government loans you money, they charge you interest, just like a bank does.
Mhm.
Unlike a bank, though, the federal government doesn't take the money it collects from that interest and figure out a way to make more money off of it. In their world, that's money that goes back into the coffers, and then the government uses it probably to loan more money out from the Department of Education student loan program. So now imagine the roughly 45 million Americans that have some type of a scenario that I just described to you. So the federal government then comes along in 2022 and says, we're going to wipe the slate clean for $10,000 on average of the 45 million people that still have student loan debt out there, or we will make that a possibility for them. Now, if every one of those 45 million people were indeed going to get $10,000 written off essentially of their loans, some of them that would retire the loan entirely. They wouldn't owe anymore. Many of them it won't actually. They'll still owe some money, but they'll owe $10,000 less than they did before. As a strict one-time expense of what that would cost the government, it would, well, it's pretty easy math to do. $10,000 times 45 million people is 450 billion dollars, I believe. I did my math correctly.
Yep.
And $450 billion seems in most people's minds an astronomical amount of money. But keep in mind, the federal government, the budget this year is going to be about $6 trillion. So this would be 1/12, basically, a little bit less than 1/12 of the federal expenditure for this year. Now, that money is not going to all be written off at one time. It's going to be distributed out over probably a series of years, depending on when people become eligible for this, or when people choose to take the offer. And then at the same time, there'll be plenty of people out there who, even if they take the $10,000 and have that written off on their loans, they're still going to owe 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 or $40,000. And presumably many of those will continue making payments on that with interest, thereby meaning the final cost to the government in terms of a loss of money. It's not as simple as calculating, okay, they're going to spend $450 billion on this year. And out of a $6 trillion federal budget, that means they spent a little bit less than a 12th of the budget doing so. Because the money wasn't loaned out at one time, and the write-off is not going to be affecting everybody at the same time, the expense doesn't come out at the same time either.
And I would agree with that, because I mean, it's very different than like the COVID relief, money that came out. I mean, because those were like like everybody received, those $1,200 checks within a very short period of time.
Well, COVID
And
relief, the airline bailout, the bank bailout, all of those things.
Yeah, everything was, and this will be something that, again, like he mentioned, it's going to be over a set period of time. It's not going to clear everybody's debt. So there's still going to be income coming into those coffers in the long term of that. And I mean, like I said, I think you hit it really well, even with your statement there, Professor, about, the people who will get it. Because I've seen ones about, oh my God, they're going to forgive, debt for like people who are becoming doctors, lawyers, and stuff like that. I'm sorry, when you get out of like med school, those first 3 or 4 or whatever years, when you're in like your residency and stuff, you're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And even certain specialties aren't making that much money. You're not making that much money until you become like a very significant specialist in a very, in need field. And even then, it's depending on where you work. You might work for, maybe you're an oncologist who works for a nonprofit. You're not making that kind of money. And I said, I've known a lot of people who have either been residents, in their residencies, or have been married to, or whatever, and they're living in, either like rental units or, apartments or whatever, unless maybe they have kids, then maybe they're splurging at a house or whatever. But in a lot of cases, because they've got, even at that point, hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt.
Oh yeah, and you bring up a great point, Mike, and that is precisely that people, again, to go back to a point I made earlier too, that you echoed, it's not like everybody that goes to college automatically graduates, gets that huge salary job, and then they're good to go. Even advanced professional positions like an attorney, like a doctor, and we take attorneys, for example. I mean, I don't know if you've been following this, but a lot of the law schools in the United States have closed over the last 10 years. And the reason why they've closed is because their enrollment plummeted. And on top of that, because the US Department of Education tracks very closely success rates, meaning did the students who took student loan money actually pass the classes that the loan money paid for? And they also follow student loan recipients after they graduate to see is the program that the student loan program is funding tuition for actually something that students can get a job in afterwards. And attorneys, believe it or not, the law field has been one of those fields that there hasn't been a particularly high success rate. I know that there's been a couple law schools here in Michigan, I won't name them, anybody who's listening can look them up, that
One of them
actually,
in the greater Lansing area.
around the state, and they had such low passage rates for their students graduating, taking the bar exam, that they actually had their credibility threatened, their accreditation threatened. And accreditation for a law school it's comprehensive because it also involves the state bar accrediting the program, partially based on the success rates of the students. So even then, let's say that you do graduate from law school, you pass the bar. If you're not a partner at a law firm, you're not making anywhere near the amount of money that you borrowed to get your law degree. And at the same time, a lot of people who do graduate, well, they become public prosecutors. And prosecuting attorneys make, a third, a quarter, a fifth of what a partner would in private practice for a law firm. And look, I'm not.
I wouldn't even go with a fifth.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm not. My point of this isn't to, put a sob story together for people. I mean, believe it or not, and I'll say the same thing I said the last time we talked about this on this program. I'm not actually that for or that against debt relief. I'm not. And maybe it's because from a selfish point of view, I took out a lot of student loan debt, nothing compared to what most people have now, but I did. I paid a lot of it back until the Trump administration suspended loan payments as part of the COVID relief packages that went through. I was making several $100 a month payments on it because I just wanted to pay it down and consider myself really responsible for paying that down because I can. I mean, I don't want to be a deadbeat. Most people that borrow money, I like to think, regardless of what it's for, know the responsibility they have to pay it back. I mean, it's just part of the deal. You signed the document, it said you got to pay it back. Fine, I'll pay it back. But at the same time, people make choices too. And lawyers know that they're going to incur a ton of money to go to law school. Doctors do too. And there are other professions that are that way as well. So I really can, I hope, present both sides of the debate here. And it may be surprising, but honestly, I do not have a super strong opinion one way or the other on this.
Well, the
I
funny
have
part is
several points to make, but I want Mike, you go ahead and make your
well, I
point
think
first.
the fun thing is you talk about most people pay back their debt. And I think you've got a situation where a lot of the people who are complaining about this, Lord and Savior that they follow is one who several times filed bankruptcy because he didn't want to pay his debt.
6 times, I believe.
Yeah.
6
Actually,
bankruptcies.
I will say that I think the
Trump.
points that he made will, I think, work well for the person who might come on at 8.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to make a couple points here. First off, the student loan forgiveness that Biden is suggesting, which, obviously there's probably going to be some legal challenges here. So I'm not going to say it's going through, but let's say it goes through. It's for federal student loans only. So if you have a personal student loan,
Yeah.
they're not forgiving that. You know, so
Right.
you decided to go to, let's say, Fifth Third Bank, because that's a Midwest bank, and take out a student loan. You're on the hook for that. It doesn't,
Yeah.
that doesn't touch it.
Mhm.
These are loans through the federal government.
The funny part is there are probably people who have both
Oh, most
the
people have both.
federal and
Most people
private
have
ones.
both.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
when you look at this, the people that qualified for the Pell Grant, which Pell Grant goes to lower income people,
Yeah.
they qualify for more of a forgiveness because the thought is they're lower income in the first place, and this will help them more.
Well, I don't think that that's. Yes. I think how you put it was a little different. So like when I got Pell Grant, it took into consideration my parents, right?
Right.
And their income. So they were poor. Granted, I was talking poor because I was their
You were
income,
still poor when you got it.
but I didn't have to put in income that I remember, right? And
You were 18.
yeah, it's like
No, it's
working at Steelcase.
unless you're an adult over a certain age going to school, it's your parents' income.
Correct.
right,
And it's
so-
Like my brother qualified for no financial aid going to Michigan State until I went into college. And then all of a sudden he qualified for things like the Pell Grant because all of a sudden it was
Two
my
kids in
parents
school.
had 2 kids in college.
Yep.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so I had the Pell Grant, but like and statistically, right? Like it statistically shows that if you're in poverty, the chances of you getting out is still very low. So
It is, and they're trying to get this money, like David said, to the people that need it the most. So people that make less than 75,000 a year.
is that what is
That's the majority that's going to get it.
that was the
Yeah,
because
because-
I thought the number was 250K.
So if you make less than 125 as an individual,
Okay, and
or 250 as a family, but it's still going to affect mostly people that make under 75,000 a year.
Yeah, that's just because that's who is the largest holder of debt, especially
Yes.
because this is skewed. And I'm just using skewed as a, in this case, statistical term, but it's the debt holding is skewed disproportionately to people under the age of 30, 35. And I mean, I'll speak from personal experience, but I don't know the way this country works. It seems to be that if you don't own a business, and maybe even if you do, you don't really make a lot of money till you get to be in your late 30s or 40s. It's just kind of the way it works. And so
Or you
So-
really have a niche business that fits a need that can make you a lot of money.
sure, but people that go into the professions and everything, and it's just how it works. And so, but here's the other thing to think about too. And a lot of the people that have the student loan debt, and I brought this up a little bit last time I was on the program, have gone into things like teaching, for example, or nursing. And Mike, you talked about doctors and all the debt they incur. A lot of the people that hold debt are military veterans, even though
Yes.
they can qualify for the GI Bill, which isn't a loan. It's not enough oftentimes to cover their tuition costs. So they still borrow money. And a lot of those veterans go into other public service careers, like they become EMTs or teachers and nurses. And so let's take teachers for an example.
Public safety officers that might require an actual degree to get them.
Absolutely.
And before David gets into this, I'm going to preface this with saying the last time he was on, he goes, are these people freeloaders? And he brought up nurses and military people that have these great amounts of loans. And we're talking about forgiveness. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that, Dave, that teachers are an interesting example too, because a lot of people don't realize this who don't go into the teaching profession, but a teacher graduates with his or her bachelor's degree. She gets a provisional teaching certificate. The state does not give permanent certificates out anymore. They haven't for like 20 some years. And part of the reason why they don't is because the state requires that teachers continue working towards their master's degrees. And so what happens is teachers, as a condition of their employment, they have to keep going to school, and that costs money. Some of the training the teachers are required to get, it's done in a non-credit environment through a program that the Michigan Department of Education has worked out with training providers, such as the college I work at. But most teachers within the first 10 years of employment will earn their master's degree because they basically have to. And so think about how much extra money then the teachers have to incur as a condition of employment to maintain their teaching certificate, their teaching credentials. And
I
that,
think,
that adds to it.
and the big thing is without significant increase in pay.
Oh, yeah.
And even with
Absolutely.
even if they get increase in pay, that entire increase in pay is probably just going in most cases for them to buy supplies for their classroom
Yep. Buy supplies to the classroom or keep going to school.
or keep going to school.
And so, first 10-year teachers, they're just out of college. They already start off with tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes in debt, and then they've got to go back and do graduate credits, which are twice or three times as expensive as undergraduate credits. So it's, again, go back to the theme of the money isn't spent at one time and it doesn't come back at one time. It's a very drawn out process at an individual level as well as at the institutional level.
And I know, oh, go ahead.
We've talked about this before. There was a hashtag going around, it goes around every year, but the beginning of the summer that's like clear the lists. And Mike and I went on there and we bought a whole bunch of school supplies for people, teachers that needed school supplies. And every time I bought it, I put it's from Bucks and Brews because I like supporting things that I can get behind. And I can get behind the fact that teachers have no money and they have to spend their own money to get this stuff for their kids to teach their kids things. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm going to go. I think I bought stuff for 5 different teachers. And I'm not claiming that on my taxes or anything. I just did it because, I could. It was something I could do to help. And, Nick and I are really big on helping the people you can that, don't always ask for help. And I think teachers are one of those groups that doesn't typically ask for help.
I did the same thing this year. Somebody I know, she teaches in a private school and she had a list of things that was needed for a classroom. And so I helped out and bought quite a few of them. And that's it, because you'll never have to twist my arm to convince me to help teachers out. That's the family trade. And I know what teachers go through. I know what my mom did when I was a little kid, all the stuff she bought for her classrooms and everything. And that's just, we say that's part of being a teacher, and it is, but at the same time, that's probably not necessarily right. Look, I'll bend over backwards to help a teacher if I can. I think it's it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, we've got so many of these different expenses that go into the teaching profession that just because of the way things are, teachers aren't always compensated for.
Well,
For me, I do a little, I focus more like, public schools or maybe private schools. I always worry a little bit more about. It depends. I'll look at the private school itself. Because if it's one that like all the Hollywood people are sending their like kids to, I'm not going to support that school. That teacher probably has plenty of
Sure.
But if it's like a small one, like, your mom was my teacher as a kid, we've talked about that on the air before.
Sure.
And then I'm sure when she became principal, I'm sure probably what she spent increased from what she was a teacher, since she felt she had of all the classes and not just, the one she was in.
Of course. Yeah. And that's how I am too. In this particular school that I speak of is certainly not, something like the Interlochen Center for the Arts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you talk about schools that, the Hollywood elite send their kids to. And this is a totally different thing. And it would be more akin to St. Margaret's back in the day, a
That's
small
good,
private school that, yeah.
Well, and Nick and I both coached an inner city school. You coached, even though it was a private school, they were basically inner city.
Yeah,
for bowling.
Surprised me.
And how many times did we buy dumb shit for our kids? I didn't eat today, coach. That's why I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. All right, fine. Assistant coach. Let's say it was Nick at that time. Nick, do me a favor. Go buy like 5 chickens and we'll feed 6 kids on this team or whatever it may be. And we did those things. It's not like I got paid for the McChickens I bought or the pizza that I bought or anything else.
Right.
I did it because these kids are hungry and I need to feed them because they obviously didn't eat at school.
Mhm.
So not to get on my soapbox, but I'm going to. The fact that they have now, COVID relief has expended the free breakfast and lunch for the kids. I'm beyond pissed off. I get it, but at the same time, many of these kids, those are the meals they get. Feed these children. I don't really give a shit what it costs. If you need to up my taxes a little bit, I'm okay with it.
I think they're just trying to get it away from the COVID relief fees to like Department of Education fees.
They are, but
There are
it's
still
not.
for every school district, unless you're like in a very, even the rich areas always
They have free and reduced.
lunch.
I get it.
Mhm.
But there are people that don't qualify for free and reduced
Won't apply for it.
or won't apply for it, but their kids really need it.
My kids got free lunch all last year, but I mean, I also was like, for me, like they're not getting it this year, but I'm like, it is much more convenient for me to put money in their account to get lunch at school than it is for me to try to figure out on a daily basis what they will eat.
And that's great, but there are plenty of people that are out there that are just over the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I understand.
That does not help them one bit because they're just over the line.
Mhm.
And it's hurting them.
Like I said, they have to raise the line.
$5.
But there's a lot of things
Yeah.
with the education system they need to revamp.
And
I mean, we
when
can
it
talk
comes-
about student loans. I mean, that's a system that needs to be completely overhauled.
It really does need to be overhauled. David, you were going to say something.
Yeah, and I was just gonna add, part of the thing about student loans is, we're talking about free and reduced meals at schools. The student loans, there's always been for certain people, a criteria, it's very restrictive criteria, but a criteria to have some of your loans forgiven. And a lot of that historically, like the free and reduced meals at public schools, this is what made me think of it, has been tied to the federal poverty rate.
Mhm.
Now, some of our loyal listeners are going to be utterly shocked at what I'm about to tell them, and I mean this. The federal poverty rates for 2022 are as follows. Now, this means that according to the federal government, if you make more money than this, with this many people in your household, you are not in poverty. And here's what it is. For a single person, $13,590. For a couple or two people living in the house, so I guess it could be, mother, son, father, daughter, $18,310. For a family of three, $23,030. According to the federal government, if you make more than $23,030 and there are three people in your household, you are not in poverty. So, like a lot of the programs that the country has that at one time were intended to help the poor, the mechanism hasn't always kept up with the times. And the other thing about the poverty guidelines that are really, this is, I think, one of the huge problems that just doesn't get discussed nowadays, is not only are these income thresholds so entirely low that, I mean, it's almost unimaginable, but we know many people have to live on this. But at the same time, these dollar figures were calculated on a formula from 50 years ago, when housing was a, relatively speaking, lower part of a person's annual expenditures, and food costs a lot more than it does now.
So
Now, housing is adjusted to inflation twice as expensive as it was, meaning not just because the value of the dollar changes over time, but even adjusted to inflation. Housing is twice the amount of money now than it was 50 years ago. And up until fairly recently, food prices adjusted to inflation had stayed pretty low. But boy, that's changed now over the last year. And so inflation is making this even worse. And my point is that even when you have programs that are well intended and are tied to official metrics like poverty rates, the rates are so low that they are basically saying that you have to be in absolute dire straits poverty. Your kids are starving and ragged and barefooted, and you're living under the I-75 highway overpass until you're considered impoverished enough to qualify for some type of a program.
Well, I
So
just did a quick, go ahead.
So I want to jump into that for a minute. So for a family of 3, that basically means $960 take home per month per adult. So because I like round numbers, let's go with $1,000.
Mhm.
So for each adult, that's 2,000. Nick, do you know what average rates are in Grand Rapids right now?
For rents.
Rent.
I mean, I know Wyoming. I just
Okay, give me Wyoming's average.
average. Sorry, we're talking about for 3. So for a 2-bedroom.
So for, yeah, let's say a 2-bedroom.
Well, while he's doing his math, I did a quick math on just his single person numbers.
Go ahead, yes.
So $13,000, 52 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, $625. So less than minimum wage.
Yep.
And I bet anything is set up so that they can say if you make minimum wage, you are not in poverty.
Correct.
That's it. And that's why it's set that way.
So it's funny because it says the average and the median,
Yes.
which I thought.
What's the average?
Which I thought were the same words.
It's not.
So
What's the
The
average?
average, $1,132.
So let's just say 1,100. We'll round down.
Yep.
What's the median?
$1,073.
Okay, so let's just say $1,100. So you make 2,000 a month, and 1,100 is going right out the door for just rent. How do you make it on $900 a month?
You don't go there.
What do you mean you don't go there?
You don't go there. You don't go to that average place.
no, you don't, but it's just saying in general.
How? Okay, so what's the cheapest you're gonna find? 800?
My now cheapest is $750 as of October.
Okay. You know I like round numbers, so let's say 800.
Or round down and just say
Call it
700.
700.
Well, I rounded up on the salaries, but that's fine. We'll round down 700, 1,900 a month.
Yep.
So they have $1,200 left.
20.
Plenty my ass.
I'm going to say, and here's, I'll give you a little quick math lesson. In this case, Nick, median and mean are pretty equal because
Yeah,
they're
no, I
very
get it.
similar, which means you basically have a very normal distribution in that range of numbers. If you had a skewed distribution in any way, the median and the mean would be much different. Median is basically you take all the numbers, you put them in a list, and you say, here's the middle.
Here's the middle. No, I
Average adds up everything and then divides it by how many ever.
How many are there? Yeah, no, I get that. But it's a, I mean, you would normally find, and that just tells you there's too many outliers.
No, there's not a lot. It's a very normal distribution if your mean and median are.
If they're
pretty
very
much-
close, but I'm saying like, you have a few outliers.
Well, again, let's say your groceries are $100 a week. That's $400 more dollars. Let's say
So we're,
electric's $100 a month, and gas is $50 a month. You're another $150, so you're $550 at this point.
Okay.
You haven't gone to work yet.
Okay.
Okay, what?
I mean, so you have.
Let's say you have a car that's not,
Done,
there's no bill on. You paid it all.
you got
You got a $500
you got a Nick Watkins Scion XP.
Yeah. And you have to put gas in it
$40 a week.
for 2.
I mean, 45.
Okay, so $90 a week. Both people go to work.
And I can
Honestly-
understand why
honestly,
it's.
I would disagree because here's I would say yes, but I would tell you I disagree on the fact of you're telling me that both people would go to work because at that price point, you're thinking they both go to first shift, they both do 9 to 5, and they're getting paid. That's a bullshit lie. One of them
It's
has to
not a
be watched-
bullshit lie. My wife and I did that.
Yeah, but who watched your kid?
Nobody, because I had no fucking money for anybody to watch my kid.
So you
She watched herself at 9 years old
say
because I had no money.
the majority I would tell you is people are working first and second, second and third, first and third.
My wife
They're-
worked first,
Yep.
I worked first, and I went clear out the fucking belt line in Leonard.
Or people were part-time, you know, early on, you were part-time.
Yes, I was part-time,
So see, right, like, so you were making less, but I'm saying
way less.
that because I remember being there, I remember being in that, like, oh, hey, we have to work opposite shifts. Because like when we were having our kid, we weren't to a spot. I'm grade 2-7 now, but like, all right, hey, I'll work this shift. And then finally it was like, you give up, right? And you're just like, ah, fuck it. Well, I'd rather see each other than not see each other and not be able to see my
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, how long does the not seeing each other
Sucks.
last?
It sucks, right? How long until you
A year or two,
how long until
maybe?
you drive yourself to get to that better spot? Right?
Yeah, because in all honesty, my wife worked. So when we were getting married,
Mhm.
2 people here went to my wedding. No, 1 person here went to my wedding. He did. When
Maybe
we
the
were
kid
getting
maybe the kid
married,
in his house with him also went to your wedding.
yes, I worked my job.
Yep.
And my wife worked from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Mhm.
And then she turned around and worked 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Mhm.
So she got like 2 hours of sleep a day.
And you guys and you guys still hit bankruptcy. Correct.
Because we had no fucking money.
Because you weren't financially responsible with your money.
And we had none.
Well, because you weren't responsible with it.
Even if we were more responsible, we had no fucking money.
Well, you gotta remember, Nick, these were jobs that were paying, and we're talking.
We're talking.
Years ago.
I got paid $8.50 an hour. Dawn got paid $7.50.
But we're getting off topic. The question was, you have $550 extra to spend, right? And now you're trying to tell me that there's 2 cars. So again, you could do it with 2 cars. And again, we're Midwest people, which is very different from.
We did it with
let's
2
go-
cars. We had to have 2 cars. There's no
You could-
mass transit here.
Correct. Here in the Midwest, there's not mass transit, right? But now but we're talking Midwest, Wyoming, we're talking this again. The chances would be you would work a different shift. Like again, I grew up very, very poor.
I worked
My
when I
day-
worked.
Right, but but you also went into
But
bankruptcy.
he worked places that didn't have shifts. He
Right, but
worked
yeah,
places
really,
I
at
didn't
that
have-
point that were.
On had shifts, right? And you
No, she didn't. She worked.
she worked 22 hours a day.
She basically
Right.
did. Yes.
So like all I'm saying is at that point, like you could have done. So I get that there is this idea that you want to say, hey, everybody should be able to have this opportunity to choose when the fuck they want to work, and everybody should be able to see their kids and everybody should love and do this. Like,
I'm not
that's
saying
fucking
that.
reality. Like,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're sitting here saying, well, you work first shift and she'll work second shift. And that's not fucking reality.
that's the majority of people, though.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
I'm telling you,
The majority of people work something in between.
sure. But
Because not everybody's working in a factory. Some people are working in retail,
right.
where maybe
some.
where they work is only open from 10 to 6 or something like that.
Correct. Now but I'm saying a majority, and if we're making that price, what are the jobs that pay that price? Right. So again, you're thinking, oh, hey, now if you're working retail, sure, okay, you're working at a mall, which is open from 10 to 7. Okay. Now, yes, now you have an hour overlap, and that's where the babysitter aspect comes in, right? And you're only paying for 1 hour of babysitting for these types of things.
I paid for no babysitting.
If I
I
could,
think even if you get
Go
people who work
David,
in-
go ahead. We're just
I'm
making
gonna
fun.
add the philosophical component to this. And I would say that it's probably not a recipe for a healthy future if we're okay with an economy that mandates parents in some capacity never get to see their kids,
Mm.
or combined have to be out of the house for 18 hours a day in
Mhm.
order to be able to make a below poverty wage
Mhm.
and spend half of their income on rental property that they don't own and they don't get any benefit from,
Mhm.
except for it's better than sleeping under the highway bridge, but they certainly aren't economically benefiting from the money they pay to the landlord.
What's interesting about the poverty, you mentioned again the poverty limit, but again, if using the math, and again, this is where, again, these people are probably not full-time employees if they're still below the poverty limit, because the math shows that if you had 2 people working at minimum wage for a full-time position, you would be above the poverty limit. But what's funny is those are not linear numbers. The numbers you gave of like a single person, two people in a household, not linear, which I mean makes to an extent a level of sense, because certain bills aren't going to go up in a linear fashion based on, you know, more people. Like certain things are going to stay fixed regardless. You're not going to pay more for internet and, you know, things like that because you've got 3 people in your house instead of 1 person in your house.
Right.
What's funny is the student loan forgiveness part we've been talking about sounds very linear. Like, you know, it's 125,000 for a single person. It's $250,000 for a married couple. That should similarly be non-linear because you're basically saying, hey, you know, you're 2 people now, so we'll double it. It should be like 100, you know, 125 and like 175.
And that's a great point, Mike. And that's one of the major criticisms of the Biden plan is it's $10,000. And $10,000, if I make $30,000 a year, is a whole lot more money than $10,000 if I make $80,000 a year or $100,000 a year. And so, but the reasoning that the White House has given is that, well, you can't ever make something like this fair to everybody. And so people borrowed money. We're going to put $1 figure down. If you make below this much money, that's what you get. If you make above this much money, you don't get it. And we're never going to please everybody, but that's what they've decided to do. And again, I'm not advocating for or against the plan. That's the reasoning that I heard in listening to President Biden talk about this last week, and then in reading the little blurb they put on the White House website. But to tie this back into our consideration of poverty, I would argue that the poverty rates in this country, and this is part of the reason why I brought them up, the dollar figure is extraordinarily low to reality. Now, with that said, how do you define poverty, right? That's a hard question. We may think, well, it's easy. If you're poor, you're impoverished. Well, you know what? It isn't actually that easy. I mean, the standard of living in a country like the United States is a lot higher than it would be in a place like Pakistan or Bangladesh, okay? So our consideration of poverty here would be different than what somebody in, I'm not picking on those 2 countries, you know, any country that has a,
Yes, you are.
a lower threshold of income, right? Angola or Guatemala, their poverty would be different than what we would consider to be impoverished. I think at a very basic level, most people would say, well, you got to be able to afford to feed your kids. You shouldn't be living homeless. That would definitely be poverty if your kids are starving and barefoot and you can't afford to put a roof over their head. But then when does it get to the point where the statistics are set up in a way that any assistance program that is tied to them is essentially intended not to really help anybody? And if the poverty rates are set so low that if you work a minimum wage job, you're not considered in poverty anymore, well, okay, maybe you aren't if we're going to look at the most dire, extreme form of deprivation as the standard of poverty, but society as a whole, and this would be me getting a little bit philosophical again, but society as a whole does not benefit from multiple generations of families unable to set their kids up in a way that they will one day have a better life than their parents did. That isn't a recipe for social success. And if one of the goals of the student debt relief is to alleviate a huge debt burden that, let's just say, probably not the most impoverished people in society face, but lower middle class professionals, and by lower middle class, I'm speaking strictly on income. You know, we're not talking about status and other things that would go into looking at how one would consider himself middle class. Then in that case, well, maybe this thing is targeted specifically.
It's like my pinky's straight up in the air. I'm a high class guy. Can't you see it?
I love it. I love it.
No, and like I get what you're saying, and you know, and because it's a hot topic for David and I enjoy these. And David's like, oh, it's bullshit. So I have a million things to say. right? So I'm looking right now at federal minimum wage, $7.25. You times that anyway. So if you're working the 40 hours, right, which is bare minimum full time, you're officially making more than poverty. So now, but like anyway, so what I want to go to is a couple of things that I wrote down. So one of the things I read was currently when you're paying student loan debts, they basically do 10% of your income goes toward that's what they calculate to pay back your student debt. One of the things that Biden wants to do is make it 5%, right? And to me, like I can't think of a dumber fucking thing than I've ever seen in my life than a person who wants to make. Okay, so I don't, and maybe we should Google this, but when we talk, right, and this is just a talk, and I believe you guys, you're telling me that people are at 5 3/4, 6%, some higher is 7, stuff like that for percentage rates. Now, if you're making a person pay back 5% of their thing, and we're saying that people are $75,000 in debt on average, and they make less than that, now you're paying back less.
Yeah, they're not $75,000 in debt on average. I think the average balance is 20-some thousand dollars.
Is that really that low? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's $27,000 according to the government.
Okay, so that's
And
good. I mean,
again, that's
average.
That's
average.
what they owe to the government. That may not be their total debt, but that's what they owe.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only federal student loan debt, and keep in mind, that's the average. So that's the guy that
Sure.
owes $90,000
And the guy that owns
person
$1.
that owes $5,000.
Right.
You know.
And I mean, well, because mine was counted there for the longest time, right? I owed $2.12 because I didn't pay. So, like, I literally, that was a. But so, the point is I know that there's debts that are out there that are higher than this 5% of what a basic payment would.
So,
so again, if we go back
Federal
to
student loans
a low person, right?
for undergraduate degrees are 5%.
Yep.
Graduate degrees are 6.54.
But if you're in your graduate, you should be making more.
Loans for non-federal loans.
Yep.
7.5.
So non-federal 7.5, but they're not getting whatever. And I don't think that 5% is.
Well,
Is that going to be for non-federals?
That's on federal loans. 5% on federal loans.
And so I see what you're saying, Nick, because if the plan is to pay all the money back,
Right.
if you're only making 5% of your income instead of 10, you're doubling the amount of time it's going to make you, to pay it back. You're going to pay a
Well,
lot
the
more
fact that the
interest.
interest keeps compounding anyway, so it isn't
Yeah.
like you stop paying interest once. Like
I-
with the car,
Correct.
you buy a car, they say, okay, we're going to give you 3% interest or 4% interest on it.
Yep.
They add that to whatever you're borrowing. So like using
Well,
again,
the
the round
structure
numbers
difference.
that Mr. Levian loves, a $20,000 car, 4%, that's, the extra, $800 or whatever on that car. And basically that's what you
So
pay.
if you pay the whole thing,
If you pay the whole thing.
yeah, like if you pay the whole time. But I want to get to how we think we could have better options of fixing it real quick.
Oh, I have better.
Because I have so that they're moving to 5% versus the 10% income. And and one thing I guess you guys kept kind of bringing up, David, especially, and you as well, like we're talking about the income things and people above a certain price, and we said 150 and 250. Okay. So one thing that people, I think, in our brains can't comprehend, right? Our brain can't comprehend FU money, right? And even when FU money comes to people, they still can't comprehend it. Like, right, when you look at $1 million in liquid cash, it's just absolutely huge. Now, we can't fathom $1 billion in liquid cash. Like, our brains just can't commute this. But so what I'm saying is people, I think, are forgetting that there's 1%ers out there and there's 10%ers, right? If you're in the top 10% of this, like, just really, you're not doing a struggle unless it's your doing, right? I mean, there's a million things. I have a very good friend of mine who does very, very well off. He's like, oh, like he took a hit or whatever, but it's like, in theory, you could be me. And this is so it's one thing I want to definitely tell to you, especially, right? When we talk about this money going upwards, I also fucking tell my rich friends to go downward, right? Like, fuck you. You live in $1 million house. You could sell it. Even if you sold it for 900, took the loss. You buy a house in my neighborhood at 250, 300. You have 400. Like you have less taxes. You have less everything.
Yeah.
You're living a normal life. You have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in your house. You're doing just fine there, buddy. Right? Like, don't. Well, it's hard to keep. No, you want to keep up there. You don't have to be up there. You can go to Wyoming and get it for 100K. Like, again, we know. Like, I would tell you the numbers for my newest flip. Like, when people tell me, "Oh, I can't," no, you can. You just have to figure out how to do the numbers. I have money wrapped up. I could have done mine $0.
By the way, I know people that want to see pictures because they saw the inside before and they're like, I want to know what it looks like now.
Yeah. I have some photos. But right, so like the whole point is getting to understand that people above 250 and 125, like 125, you're probably not at you're probably not at your max out potential for that income, right? Because that is a degree field that you've taken a lot of money out that's actually going to pay off, right? I mean, if you're making it, we talk about the Dave Ramsey loves to joke about the fucking underwater basket weaving, and they went and took the student loan debt. Okay, so they're not making 150. Yes, they have the debt, but those aren't the people that were granted.
I wanted to bring that up because
that's the great exception to the rule. And Dave Ramsey is going to look at the extreme to try to prove his point. I mean, he thinks college education is a waste of money, a waste of time, and you should never go into debt ever for anything in your life. And if you grew up in the kind of household he did, and you had the start in life that he did from daddy writing him one hell of a big check, that's great, right? That's his world. But for the majority of the people, that isn't the world they live in. But your point, Nick, is spot on about the higher income thresholds. And my understanding of this relief is it wouldn't be offered to people that make above that income. And
nothing to touch them.
Right.
Well, and bobbleheads running around, bobblehead would be Bobert, going, we shouldn't, Bobert from fucking Colorado. Why are you, I don't know what your look is. Anyway, she's running around going, we shouldn't support these people's majors of lesbian dance theory. Okay, again, nobody's majoring in this shit.
Yeah, and
people are majoring in things that they want to do, and not necessarily something that they will end up doing. So, like my coworker Christy has a creative writing degree from Central Michigan University. She works with me, not doing creative writing.
And I think David brought up a huge point and hit that earlier, right? He was talking about, I mean, look at the decline in lawyers, right? And it's funny. It's funny that you say that because I was just with a group of friends talking about life, and it was like a real estate meetup or something. And somehow somebody had made the joke of, hey, go to school, we need more lawyers. And I was like, I had no idea. And then all of a sudden, like, it was like, hey, this is like, there's a decline because of this. And it's funny because like I focus. I'm not selfish. Like I'm very giving, but like sometimes I get in, and you see it, right? Yeah, I've been very selfish with my time. Of like I'm not answering, and Mike, right? I'm not answering texts. I'm not doing stuff like because at this moment you need to get my attention because like I am very close to finishing this flip, and this is me time. Don't fucking bother me. Nothing more important in my life is happening right now. Unless it's life and death. And so when people text, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like this still has to go back on.
So I want to talk about lawyers for a second.
Yeah.
So
sorry, David.
I was just going to real quickly add that part of what's going on here is that we have a pending disaster coming up in this country with a lot of professions. Teachers are the first ones that we're seeing this, okay? And part of that hasn't a darn thing to do with anything we're talking about right now. A lot of it is because Gen Xers didn't have a lot of kids, and we were a small generation to begin with. And so the baby boomers are aging out. The millennials are just starting to get into the professions. And so that's created part of the crisis in a lot of professions. And I'll use teachers as an example, because there is a huge shortage of teachers right now. But there are other reasons why there are shortages in these professions too. The biggest of which is people quit going to college.
Mhm.
And you cannot become a lawyer, you cannot become a doctor, you cannot become a teacher unless you go to college, because you have to have that formal education. And so
That's
right
exactly
now,
it.
the various leaders in the country and universities and any other folks that think they can affect the change are trying to figure out what can we do to solve this problem before it becomes a huge disaster.
We
And
can all agree here that I would probably be the best fucking gym teacher to walk up in dirt. Right? Like I mean,
What I would do is, if you were my gym teacher, I would be like, yeah, I'll do that when you do that.
oh, I'll do it the whole time.
Like,
though.
like
I'll
climb
be
the
the-
rope.
He honestly would.
I'm gonna be the guy out there. Like, granted, and what?
He ran bases for me at softball practice.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
might
I'm
be a
not talking
big
about
dude.
things like that.
I might be a
I
big dude.
take
but I
a
still
gym
run.
class.
I'm talking like run the
I take it.
stairs, climb the rope. Things
No,
like that.
dude, we're only playing, dodgeball, which you can't play
Yeah.
anymore. We're playing freeze tag. We're playing all these fun things. And like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm the guy who's playing, right? Like, dude, I mean, ultimate frisbee, just get out of my face. Like, here we go, little 7-year-old. But I don't have a college degree. I'm not willing to go pay, and this is what pisses me off about some people and things. And you have the choice, right? And gosh, my brain can go a million ways with this, but you have the choice to, if you want to go be a teacher, right? You have to have that passion. You have to do that. I know that me becoming a teacher is going to cost me, let's just say, $80,000, right? Because you have to go to a school, and especially if you want to be a teacher in, Denison, Granville, a upper echelon of Michigan bullshit.
Go to school, even if you're to be a teacher, unless you're a sub. I mean, even subs, they want college education now.
Yeah, you have to have a college
I could be a
education.
sub.
Yeah,
Right. And so, but all I'm saying is I know that a teacher pays on average what? Let's say $42,000 to start. And you think my dumbass is going to pay $80,000 to make half?
well, but Nick, society can't function without teachers. And so we got to do something, because one of these
what we
days,
do?
But is $42,000 a starting wage for a lot of teachers? I would
No.
say no.
No, it's way
It's
less.
more down at like $30,000.
it is.
Yes.
It hasn't gone up hardly any in the last 20 years. And
30K.
yeah.
Are we?
No,
No.
that's
No.
accurate.
Really? All right, I have to Google this because I'm not saying you
No, it's
wrong.
accurate. I know a second grade teacher that left the school I coach at
Yeah.
to go to a different school because we pay so shitty at the school I coach at.
And again,
Yeah.
a lot of it is exactly that. It's the school district. So it's
Yeah,
the
it varies. It
tax
varies
base in
greatly.
that
And
district.
believe it or not, Michigan has like the 4th highest paid teachers in the union.
Yeah.
Down south,
that's-
Mississippi, you'll start out making $18,000 a year as
Oh,
a
yeah.
teacher in
You-
Mississippi.
you-
My-
you
my
know what pisses me
brother-
off? Real quick, sorry. So you're in Lansing. We're up in Grand Rapids. Kalamazoo has the Kalamazoo Promise.
Yes.
Very, very well off people have done fucking, and this is what pisses me off about all of you people with your rich people, blah, blah, blah. Like, very, very wealthy people have promised that if you finish school and do this, you get to go to college in Michigan for free, right?
But do you know why?
Because they can have more fucking employees.
They have to go to school from kindergarten through 12th grade in Kalamazoo
Correct.
public.
They want to bring
You get
people
it
to
for
the community,
free.
to bring you to the community.
Otherwise, if you
It's
only go for like
prorated.
your 4 years of high school,
Yep.
It's
you maybe
prorated.
only get 15%.
Lansing has something similar. And Nick, here's the other thing to consider about that, though. That
Yep.
sounds all great, but
It's not.
a society that has a few really rich people that decide who's going to go to college and who isn't, what the terms are, and they keep pulling on the purse strings. That's how medieval Europe worked.
That's very
And
true.
It's not a recipe for a republic that's going to survive. I mean, look, it's a great idea for people to benefit from it. But my point is, long term, we don't want to get in the business of
No.
having, the 4 or 5 wealthy families in the community to fund everything, because that's medieval Europe, and that didn't work out too good.
But
And
it's not
I'll be
really-
honest,
I mean,
where I was
it's-
going-
it's considered a private thing. So yes,
Where I was
funding,
going
yeah.
real quick was
But-
actually, David, right where you were headed. Because what was just on the news was Kalamazoo teachers were protesting, right?
Striking.
Striking. And so like they forgot about the people that were taking care of those kids to make sure that they get to the final road of the 12 years, right? Like, and so David, that was exactly the point. Is it doesn't work when you are the person just funding. Hey, if you do this, we'll give you this, right? That end reward is there, but I don't know any kindergartens through. I might have known a second grader at one point that was like the smartest kid I've ever met. Like that knew what the hell they were doing the rest of their life. Like they just did it. Like,
Nobody knows.
dude,
at
I was
that
in
age.
high school and still had no idea.
I have an all-state player right now
Yeah.
that has told me I'm going to CC for 2 years. She can play Division I softball.
Go play.
You know why she's going to go to
She
CC?
has no idea what she wants to do.
She has no fucking clue.
And the worst
And
part-
she goes, I don't want to waste my money at a school that's, you know, necessarily I can go play at, but I can't make up that money later.
And that's the interesting part is because
She's not getting a scholarship. She's going to like Central Michigan. And, you know, if they're lucky, they're going to give her a couple grand.
Well, I mean, that's what we were.
well, that's well, and I mean, but that's probably all a lot of softball players are getting at these Division I schools, anyway, unless they're a softball program,
Yes.
because there's not a lot of
You're not selling a
financial.
shit ton of
Can
tickets.
we talk about just sorry, I know we're talking about softball quick. We need to talk about the fact that they didn't even open it up for you and I to fucking apply
What?
the Michigan job.
Oh, no, they gave that right away.
Just
to
right,
Bonnie.
like
Right to
just
Bonnie.
there was. It was like
I got rejected from Notre Dame,
Notre
though,
Dame-
just so you know.
Oh,
So,
the injustice of it.
I
You
want
know?
you to know I was with a city inspector, and I think you had texted me that and I go, oh, son of a bitch. And the inspector's like, what's up? And I was
They were
like,
not looking at us.
I was like, my buddy just got denied for being the coach,
Assistant coach at Notre Dame.
Oh, I would
And
have
they're
written you a letter of recommendation. I don't think it would have done any good, but I would.
I
wouldn't
don't
done
either.
anything.
It was a job that I had to apply for, but
Dude,
I
you
knew
had-
they weren't even going to call me. They did not.
And they were respectful about it.
They
Like,
were. They sent me a really nice email.
I read it to the
Yeah,
I read it to the
it
inspector.
was a
whatever,
very
it was like,
Christian sounding rejection.
Well,
It was
it's
more
Catholic.
Catholic sounding.
It's
Yes.
granted, it's still Christian. All Catholics
Um,
are Christians. Not all Christians are Catholic.
Yes.
I want to go back to the lawyer thing for a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
So, the three of us growing up in Southwest Michigan,
Well, I grew up in Southwest.
you grew up in West Michigan. There would be commercials on the TV, and for most of us, this was before the cable days because
Oh,
we're
I know
old
what you're going to
fucks.
talk about. Bernstein.
And there, not only Bernstein, but there was another lawyer ad. Do you remember what it was? There was Sam Bernstein and
Yeah,
Well,
and one of the Bernsteins is a board of regent now at the
yeah,
university.
he is.
And then
drove
one
a
of
car
them
for the
is-
first time.
One of them is the state Supreme Court justice. too.
Yes.
State Supreme, yeah, and he
Okay,
he drove
now
a
I'm
car.
trying to remember the other one.
And he's blind.
They had a buffalo on their commercial.
It
oh
was
yes.
Spread-
Geez.
Stenfield.
and Anderson,
It was Frickin' Anderson.
Frickin' Anderson.
There you go.
So,
the Dutch,
yeah.
the Dutch first name being there in that part of the state. is what I
yes.
remembered that.
So I met David Anderson.
Yeah.
When I talked about filing bankruptcy, because he left Sprague because he didn't make enough money in personal injury, so he went to be the bankruptcy lawyer in Grand Rapids. Now, I talked to him. He told me I had to sell everything I had because you're broke, you're poor, and you can't handle anything. So sell everything you fucking have.
Mhm.
And I went, that sounds stupid. So Dawn and I went and filed our own bankruptcy with no fucking help from him. And we showed up to court, and everybody at court besides us were represented by David Anderson, who didn't show up to fucking court. He sent one of his guys because,
course.
as David mentioned an hour ago, if you're a partner, you make money. If you're not, you're the other fucking guy.
So, you know, say I don't know how long Mr. Siwik's with us, so I want to get to a couple things.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, we talked about teachers, right? And I do love teachers. I respect them and what they do, and
And
what
we're
they-
losing them daily.
we are right. But I want to go to because you talked about how you know they're looking for ways to improve this system and get it so that people like me who would make an awesome teacher. You know, I just like and okay, if I was guaranteed a job doing what I would love, right? Like I would go be a teacher. But there's zero chances my dumbass is gonna go and take extra credit stuff, right? Like I'm not gonna continue to go to school. It's just not gonna happen. That's not who I am as a person. I love teaching. I love being that. Like, so if I wasn't a PE teacher, right, I would be a wood tech teacher, right? Like wood technology, like people need to learn how to do this stuff, right? I don't know any, like, granted, I do know some because
Do they still teach that in school?
in Granville, but like, so my one friend teacher at Granville, I didn't have him, but my friends did. Right, he teaches CAD, he teaches, and now he teaches auto tech. And when I was leaving, he taught a like a home remodel class. So they had a small bathroom. They taught you how to set a toilet. They taught you how to drywall a couple walls. They, plumb a couple things. Like it was like hands on. Like that is stuff that needs to be fucking taught. And as much as people like, my wife gets so mad because it's like home ec, and I'm like, dude, if it's geared towards women. If you could teach a person, we talked about the giant joke of the lady that said she had a gas leak when she had an electric stove. Like, oh my God, you can tell you didn't fucking take home ec. You know nothing about this. So all I'm saying is there's people that don't know how to fix anything, and they should learn all these skills and techniques.
I don't know if David can name this. So we had to take, so Jim was like 18 weeks, and then you got like 6 weeks of home ec, 6 weeks of wood shop, and 6 weeks of computers.
Yep.
I can't tell you our computer teacher in high school or in middle school.
Mr. Wick.
I cannot tell you our home ec teacher in middle school.
I can.
But I
Mr.
can tell you
Kopka.
our shop teacher was
Mr.
Mr.
Butler.
Butler. Who were
And
the other two?
Mr. Kopka was the computer teacher,
Yep, I remember that now.
and the home ec teacher, her name,
He had two names.
right in my mind. But Nick,
Bert something?
yeah, that might have been it. But Nick, here's the thing, teaching is a profession like medicine, and I'm not going to go to a doctor's office and have a doctor who, oh, I think I can do that,
Did he
doing surgery on me. A teacher's the same way. There's skills,
Mhm.
practicum, experience, knowledge that can only be learned by a formal education program at a university, and you do not want to open the floodgates to
Oh God,
anybody
no. No, and
walking into a classroom. You won't. I wouldn't trust them with my
I think,
kids.
I
and-
think even a lot of, yes, you need the education to understand kind of the basic concepts of teaching, but I also think you need a basic understanding of what you're teaching as well.
Oh yeah, the subject matter is very important. And look, I think that one should not be emphasized over the other. You want people that are going to be in a classroom with children to know a bit about child psychology, about human growth and development. But you also want them, if they're teaching history, to know about history. If they're teaching home ec, know how to cook, know how to sew. If they're teaching the building trades,
Yep.
know how to frame a wall.
Well,
And that is really the basis by which how our teacher education programs work. The challenge right now is that there aren't enough of them.
Yeah.
And so what do you do?
I think what you do is start changing your incentivize. Like, I mean, we don't pay enough for these teachers, right? And we're over here giving student loan forgiveness to everybody, when I think some people would say, hey, let's just give it to the teachers instead, right? Like, give raises. I think there's so much, and granted, that's a one-time thing versus a long time, whatever. But and you can take money from everywhere, and some people are saying, hey, let's just tax ourselves at 90%, fucking have everything for free. That's just not who I am. But David, I want to let you know, because you made the analogy of you wouldn't go to a doctor. That's not, but I really think you missed the Tommy Boy thing, right? Where I could stick my head up a cow's
Yes.
ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it, right? Like,
Or I could put a, I could,
But again, they're
I could- I
specialized.
could take a piece of, I could take a shit in a box and put a warranty on it, but all you're really buying is a guaranteed piece of shit.
Yes.
right.
So
And let me, can I add something? Because it goes kind of
Go
with
ahead.
what you said,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
goes with the fact that we talked a bit about the Kalamazoo province. I am the one that is still local to Kalamazoo, which means I know a lot of families in this area, which means I know a lot of people now getting to the point in the workforce that were the first recipients of some of the promise, and I have heard that for those who would have been college students no matter what, yes, it's a great thing, but there are so many kids that failed out within the first like year to 2 years of college because they never learned how to actually learn. And that goes down to the fact that, sure, maybe make it where it's tiered in some way, income and grade level for the promise, but then take that other money and get better teachers in there, make them want to do their job.
Well,
And
the
we
question,
have a similar thing here in Lansing, actually, the Lansing Promise, and it's modeled off the Kalamazoo one. What part of what you're identifying, Mike, is what's been discovered, not only in different places here in the United States, but elsewhere in the world, when college tuition becomes free. And I will use the state of California as an example, because California for many years offered free tuition to California residents to the state university system, which is very extensive out there. It's the most extensive in the United States. And after, I think, about 30 years of doing this, guess what? The attendance rates at California universities for California residents weren't really any higher than they were in a place like Michigan, where you had to pay tuition to go to schools. And I've got some experience with the British education system, having gone to 2 universities in the United Kingdom.
Mhm.
And right now, they have a similar thing going on there. In England, for about 10-year period of time, the English universities didn't charge tuition fees. And then they started charging tuition again. In Scotland, if you're a Scottish resident, you don't pay tuition. And the attendance rates haven't really changed at all from when you had to pay tuition to when you didn't have to. And I think that maybe it's just the nature of, by the time you get to be our age, I don't know, but we've lived a few hard knocks, and you think that, well, a lot of problems, you just got to throw money at them. And then sometimes it's shocking to discover that, well, money actually isn't the reason necessarily why people don't go to college. It's other stuff. It's social values, which I talked a little bit about last time I was on. And so where does this fit into the student loan forgiveness? Well, for one, I think this is probably going to be both a one-off and probably a stepping stone to some more comprehensive reform of how the student loan system works. But I think it's also going to be an eye-opening experiment, because people are going to discover that, wow, the financial burden was removed and we didn't increase the college attendance rates.
Mhm.
What's going on?
Well, I can see kind of exactly what you're saying there. So I could see it not increase, because like you said, there are just people who would never, partly because they probably would never get accepted into college anyway. The bigger difference is probably more of a shift of people who, especially with like the Kalamazoo Promise, the Lansing Promise, it's moving from, I'd spend the first couple of years in a community college or a junior college instead of that, because it's free, I'll go to a 4-year institute. Because yeah, you're right. There's still going to be people who just, their grades aren't gonna get them into college.
Yeah, and part of what's going on too is how it worked in this country way back when, in sort of the pre-World War II days, and that was that tuitions were really low back then at universities, even adjusted to inflation. But just because the tuition was low, it still didn't mean you could afford to go to school. If you were a working class kid, you had to work. You didn't have money saved up to live off of while you were going to school. And I suspect that's a lot of what's going on now, is even if kids can figure out how to finance their education, and even if they don't have to finance it through loans, and they can actually figure out a way to get it paid for, such as through the Kalamazoo or Lansing Promises, they've still got to be able to afford to live. And living's expensive. And it's not cheap just because you turned 18 and the world's going to give you a discount on your rent. It doesn't work that way.
No, because this is only covering tuition. This is not covering room and board and other things like that.
Yep.
So I have a couple things. One, I want to hit on It took me 6 years to finish my bachelor's for finance. I know 10% more now than I knew 6 years ago. But I had to take all these classes that didn't necessarily teach me a fucking thing.
It's that 10%.
Because you learned in the school of hard knocks.
I did.
That's right.
So
I love it. I had to take, I mean, it's not to the extent you did, but I had to recently take training on, the funny part is Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Required training for my position. You know what I learned on that?
nothing.
Absolutely dick from what
Yep.
I already knew by using the programs.
How to hit autosum.
So one of
Control P.
the things I really want to hit, because I don't know when we're losing the professor, but
Yeah.
the question came up of how do you fix this system? And I have ideas.
Well, and yes, I'd love to hear those. But before we do that, just
Yeah.
real quick. So we talked about, like, you know, again, teachers, and you guys said, hey, teachers paying for stuff, and it's become this big trend to buy teachers school supplies.
Yeah.
So we talked about my wife and I getting into a huge fight.
Yeah.
About okay, so day one she says, oh man, our schools have so much fucking money. It's crazy, blah blah. I do live in a very privileged fucking area.
Yeah.
Same.
You do, right? And so, you know, all of a sudden, and then we go vote on that Thursday. So, like, let's say she makes this announcement on like Tuesday, then we go vote, and or Tuesday, whatever it is, and she votes to like raise taxes and stuff or something. And I was like you just said we have so much fun. Stop, like you're dumb. You know, as I'm here,
But a lot depends on what
on
the
my
village is
tax
going to
bill.
go for.
Well, and it was something stupid that pissed me off.
What are they building? A new football stadium?
I don't.
A new softball field?
Might have gone towards the library.
Because
aspect,
where I coach, we're getting a new softball field because they re-upped the millage.
Sure, I get that, but like, okay, so if you look at my tax bill and where I live,
Mhm.
okay, it says I pay my fucking property tax, and that's about it. Okay.
Mhm.
Where I own, it says I'm paying Godwin's back taxes,
Yeah,
or you know, it says I'm paying Wyoming's back.
Oh, yeah.
It says I'm paying, you know, Grand Rapids. fucking-
Kellogg'sville,
Yes, everything. Everything of people that have over fucking spent.
Lee.
I live in Denison,
Yeah.
Georgetown. Like we have,
But you have properties all over.
we don't have this fucking. I don't have this stupid line that says I just paid 120 of my $10,000 towards the stupid fucking debt of somebody else's goddamn irresponsibility.
You bought a new softball field that they don't take care
You're
of.
very fucking welcome for that. And we didn't. Yeah.
Is this,
So
is
I
this
don't
the
coach
one,
there, why
is this
am I
the one
going?
that,
Anyway, so
that you
getting
used to
off topic,
coach at
because
where like they put
Next.
the field in wrong or whatever?
Yeah,
I'm very angry about this.
Next, sometimes living in a civil society is hard, isn't it?
Dude, it's
it is.
It's a
especially when you grew up the way I did, right? It was,
And you know that things can be better than what they are.
oh my
But we're
gosh.
too fucking stupid to do
And
those
these
things.
people are just, but like the problem is like you have the Marvs, right?
Yeah,
Like, what the fudge is, but like, you want to talk about the richest guy that we probably know that you don't know he's that loaded?
So, Dave,
This guy works, I mean, literally,
he has no money
be
because he
facetious.
takes care of his fucking
That's horseshit.
grandkids.
Horseshit. This guy works 15 hours a day, overtime after like 8 type thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
literally works
He has a
7
good job.
7 days a week, and he's
Yeah.
been doing it for 50 fucking years.
7
of his
days a
life.
week, but Saturdays are time and a half no matter what, and Sundays are double time no matter what.
And holidays are triple. Right? Like, and
Yes.
he's done them all for his whole like 50 years. So
Yeah.
he's who really probably is the richest person we just don't know.
Probably is.
So but
Except his wife.
anyway, so back to so right. The point I'm making is, you know, when I donate, like I tell my daughter's teachers every time, I'm like, look, if you need something, just literally let me know.
Yep.
Consider it bought. And they're like, oh, I appreciate that. And then they send out a stupid email that pisses me off. Like, God damn it.
You just had this
Now,
conversation.
now you're gonna get 50 of these, and I'm gonna be one of them because I'm stupid, because you know I assume everybody else is too late to go date. Well, literally, again, I'm not trying to be an arrogant asshole. I just want to fix your problem,
Yep.
and your problem is this, and
And you don't want to hear about it again.
exactly ever,
Yeah.
right? Like, so like I went.
Oh,
bought-
you need $100 here. Leave me alone.
it's like, take care of it, right? Like, oh hey, I need somebody. Like we talked about that. I went and bought, you know, $60 worth of snacks because the teacher was,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, I just sent an email that's asking if she can give snacks away, and I was like, are you the stupidest person I've met? Like, not if there's I sent an email, they didn't like that. And I said, if there's a person that says no, that you can't share the snacks that they just bought, please let me know so I can tell them to go fuck themselves. And they're like, well, we won't do that, but we appreciate it. And I was like, no, please do.
No, please
like,
do that.
Like, I want to know how arrogant people are that their kid can only have these. Like, because I don't want to surround myself with that other person that's that shitty. Anyway, so the point I'm making with teachers is, okay, we're sending this stuff, and you don't have to improve your room. You want to. You don't have to have these things. You want to. It's a choice. Now, earlier the topic was brought up of trades, right? And if you go into a trade, I mean, it is expensive, and it's years and years and years. Okay, my brother's probably in the cheapest trade, electrical, right? And that guy has every freaking Milwaukee tool. Well, not all of them yet, because I still haven't borrowed half of them. But like, I mean, you're talking, you know, he has an account that he's allowed to go to 500, I think, and then pays $50 a week towards it. And he's never once not had $50 come out of his check, and he's been there for like 5 years, right? I will tell you. So the idea is everything that you do, like even in my, okay, so I own my own business. I have to buy my own tools. Well, granted, I could hire it out, have somebody else fix it, but like you have to have things in your business, have to have certain things. And so when you get into your job, so I worked in warehousing for a long, long time. Every fucking job I went to, you're gonna have steel toes. Why do you think? And it's funny because everybody always asks. No, very few people ask me when I say, "Hey, I went in and asked for unlimited time off, and I also get to wear sandals."
Yeah,
it's because I had to wear steel toes my entire fucking career, and some people find them comfortable. But me, that was like their way to weigh me down, and I wasn't having it no more. Like, yeah, hard pass on.
so I'm gonna go back to, I have 2 points again.
Yeah.
Because you made me come up with a point. Mike, you've been on many, many episodes. You
Many.
feel
I know, I'm
like
not even considered a guest anymore.
you're not. Do you feel like Nick's going nuts now because he hasn't dominated 90% of the
I
conversation?
think so, yes.
I'm
Number two,
the answer is
We're-
yes. Like,
we're gonna go.
I've been
we're
so
gonna-
pent up.
We're gonna go to how can we fix this?
Yes.
So I have ideas, and I'm sure the professor has ideas. So one of my ideas is we need caps on interest rates.
Mhm.
So let's cap and let's cap it in ways that we need. So right now we need teachers, right?
I'm following.
I would think, David, do we need teachers?
Oh, yes.
So 2% interest for teach. If you're going into teaching, primary, secondary, 2% interest.
Yep.
We don't really have a shortage of doctors or lawyers right now. So, okay, 4% for them. Okay.
Mhm.
But we do have a shortage of nurses right now.
2% for them.
2%. Now, do we have a shortage of people that are majoring in lesbian dance theory? No.
You don't know that.
So 5% for them. But
Yeah.
5% is the max.
And I think that that's a great idea, because now we're talking about incentivizing people that do have to borrow money by
in the fields of
manipulating the
need.
interest rate when they pay it back. I think that a couple other things I'll throw out there, and that I'm going to have to part ways soon, but
No, please don't.
I might also throw out there that a lot of universities now are paying tuition. They aren't charging tuition for people that are below a certain income threshold. And that's a
I'm
trend.
sorry.
that's
Can you
gonna-
repeat that real quick?
A lot of universities now have stopped charging tuition for students that come from a household with an income below a certain threshold.
Okay, thank you.
Michigan State University, I think it's $75,000.
Mhm.
Really?
University of Michigan, it's
Your household, so it's free tuition for anybody coming from a household less than that.
correct.
Really?
Yep, and the
Wow.
in-state, for in-state students, and the University of Michigan they were actually one of the first to start doing this. They've been doing it for like 10 years. Few of them started doing it about 5 years ago. And I think that part of the problem of skyrocketing tuition and all the money that students borrow to pay it is going to eventually be solved by that. Because that is how the universities are going to get themselves off the hook for all the negative, well, press, but
Mhm.
it's much deeper than that. of being partially responsible for all the debt that's out there. And again, the student loans, when the federal government disperses the money, they don't give it directly to the students. They give it to the university. University then has the eligibility requirements that have been approved by the federal government, and then the university disperses it to the students. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because the university then has a responsible role to play, not only in who gets the loans, but if they're paid back or not. And that second part is something that has changed a lot over the last 10 years. Now, the U.S. Department of Education tracks universities, community colleges, for-profit and non-for-profit colleges, trade schools, any school that's financial aid eligible. The Department of Education tracks who gets the money, how much are they getting, what are their default rates, what are their passage rates, what are their rates of finding a job after they graduate. And this stuff it wasn't really kept as close tabs on it. The government didn't keep as close tabs on it. It's about 10, 15 years ago. Now they do. And this is part of the reason why the universities have gone to this formula now. And I think that probably most public universities in this country will eventually do that. It'll be the people that are wealthy that go to the schools, well, they pay the full tuition. It's a very high tuition because essentially it's subsidizing the folks that do not come from very wealthy backgrounds who won't be charged tuition.
Like you said, the out-of-state people who want, like, they go to that school because it's like, I think is a good example.
And
Great
international
veterinary
students,
programs, great all that other stuff, and
Yep,
that's
and-
where they'll earn their money.
absolutely. In the U of M Medical School, which is one of the best in the world, they have one of
Absolutely.
the best teaching hospitals in the world there. The same thing. And I think that the powers that be in the Congress, the Biden administration, the Department of Education, they know this. And in their minds, kind of to wrap this back to the whole student loan debt forgiveness, is this isn't going to be something that we'll have to worry about in the future because it's probably not going to exist the way it does now in the future.
I think to add, well, just to add to kind of, and I know we've talked about it too before in previous episodes that worked, it was probably more things like when people who had student debt came on. And it's the fact that, go back to the way it was like when I was going into, college and everything, where it was like, you didn't start getting interest accrued on your debt until basically you were done, graduated or whatever, or said, okay, I'm done going to school, I'm done with it. I've been out for, 2 years. I'm not going to do it. Instead of the day you borrow money, you're accruing debt or accruing interest. And I just I have to correct you on one thing, just from one of the things you said at the very beginning of the episode, Mr. Siwik, and that was the Republicans. And yes, it's kind of the two extremes. It's the very poor people and it's the very rich people that are Republican at this point. Because the rich people like the fact that the Republicans are going to drop their taxes and, give them huge tax breaks because they still think in some cases these people are going to be, oh yeah, we'll give money to the poor, but they're like, no, we're not going to give money to the poor. We're going to pad our, accounts.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is watching this unfold right now because the political dynamics of the two main parties in this country, they've changed through the years. When the Republicans started out right before the Civil War, one of the things they were founded on was spending government money on what we nowadays call infrastructure. They were all about the transcontinental railroad, spending government money for ports, roads, all that good stuff.
Republicans were very liberal back then.
Yes, and it's changed through the years. And so me, just as a historian, I mean, I'm fascinated to watch this stuff go on, regardless of what I think about it. From a political point of view, I think that the alarmist politics that are out there nowadays they do nobody any good. With rare exception, there are few politicians in this country who actually want to, like murder babies and stone people to death and ruin the country, even though their opponents say they do. But at the same time, I'm not trying to diminish the fact that everything seems to be politically polarized. And the
Mhm.
student loan debt issue, I mean, there you go. It's one of those things that at first glance you think, well, shit, I mean, who the hell get upset about this? And then, oh, well, actually, there's a lot of people that get upset about it. But part of that is too, because we have in our country right now, I think, reached a point where a lot of people think that they're victims, whether they are or not. And that, I think, is an equal opportunity offender on both sides of the political aisle. And I think also a lot of people look at this country now as a zero-sum game. If somebody gains something, it's at my expense.
It is, Garen. Gosh, I couldn't agree with you.
No, they
And-
think that
Yeah,
not
they-
necessarily is that the way.
Correct.
No,
They-
right, but like I couldn't like
Yep, they
that's
think
what people
that.
think. It's a constant, it's a constant thing, you know.
Yep.
And that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. Sorry to cut you off, but like, you know, some of the quickest things, and especially from my more Republican friends, right, was, oh, my fishing boat now identifies as a college debt, you know, or
Yeah,
a
student
debt.
loan.
My truck identifies, and I'm like, and it's funny because like at first I was like, meh, and then it kept getting worse,
Mhm.
and it kept going, and I was like, all right, so all I've taken out of all these things you share, the fact that you're so far in fucking debt that you're just so stupid that you don't know how to control your goddamn money.
Yeah.
You should listen to Bucks and Bruce, right?
Yes.
Like
Well-
instant, because like my brain was like, gosh, why are you so like? Wait.
They
So
don't
you're-
know
you're-
how to handle
You're
shit.
right. You're no better than the person who thought they were betting on their education, but you bet on your happiness of buying a boat that you can only use after 5 o'clock on Friday, and you have to get your ass in bed. So or you're going to be watching football on Sunday. So really,
Yeah,
you're using it on
and
Saturday morning
I'll,
if you can get out there.
I'll conclude my visit here with two thoughts that are related to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Number one, I've said this before on this program, I'll say it again. Many of the people who, and this isn't to diminish the true high cost of higher ed, but many of the people who think it's a crime against humanity that they should ever have to pay that much money for an education have no problem going out and financing a $65,000 pickup truck that's going to be a worthless piece of shit in 10 years.
Mhm.
Hey,
Worthless piece of shit the moment they drive it off the.
You got it.
Fucking
And then the
lot.
second thing I'll say
my
about
RAM
that,
is great.
the second thing I'll say about that too is back to this idea of people thinking that country's a zero-sum game. Guess what? If you don't owe any money on student loans, if the Biden administration figures out a way to relieve all of the debt, none of the debt, some of the debt, your life isn't going to be changed one bit from it.
Mhm.
And it's because, so I want to just add to that. And the reason that your life won't change is because of how stupid it goes back to the 1%er aspect. We can't comprehend that money with how many bills have been passed in the government and how many things, right? So dude, there's probably stuff from 1950 that they put taxes on for, let's call it, just for stupid, because David loves round numbers, 70 years, and it finally paid off in 2020. And now there's this money that we were like, okay, but
It's
there's so
called
much.
the interstate highway system.
Yeah.
The government
like-
spent more money on that than it ever spent probably on anything else except maybe World War II, and everybody benefits from it. And we're
And-
still
and-
paying for it. We always will. I mean, it's how it
Oh my
works.
gosh. And so it's, these, and I just heard a clip and it was Nancy Pelosi. It was like, you don't get to know what the bill states until it gets passed. And, it was I was like, wow, what a crazy lady. But like, because when we talked about the abortion episode that we did or whatever,
we
it's like with abortion came, let's give GM money. It was like, what the fuck do these two have in common? It was like it was so far apart on the things that they were trying to fund. And they do that with every bill. Hey, let's do this, but like let's also give, let's give Biden a dancing allowance or whatever the hell it might be.
So
we don't know we're funding it.
We know David has to leave.
No, he doesn't. He's staying with us for the rest of his life.
I've got
I
one
mean-
minute left.
He'll be back, but he needs
Oh,
to
yes.
leave.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts, David, please? I know you do a podcast for LCC.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
He does. Can you please plug that for us?
Oh, well, I would be glad to. Thank you. So I do a podcast called Land Stories. It's a ostensibly local history, but kind of different history, maybe not the stuff that you learned about in school. And lccconnect.org is the website. The program airs on the radio, 89.7 FM here on weekends, and then it immediately goes to a podcast where you can listen to it on demand. So thank you.
So I know we will have David back on soon. We're not ending this episode for anybody on Twitch right now. We are not ending this episode. We're going to keep talking. But we are saying goodbye to our special guest, the professor, who we absolutely love having on. He might be my favorite guest.
I love being here. So thank you very, very much for having me.
And especially on things, because I love how much knowledge you have, because you literally do this field.
Yeah.
And I come from the arrogant asshole other side, and we have an educated conversation. And this is one thing I tell people, like, everybody knows that David and I are different, but the same. Mike loves it, but like, we have an educated conversation.
We do.
That's it. And so,
And we want to argue educated.
Yeah,
educatedly.
civil
Just say educatedly. Just
So I
say
think
something like an asshat.
The best part about the professor is he comes like having read up on everything. He'll have
Yeah.
stats written down.
So I'm going to say this
he's going
before.
to show up with like a
'Cause
PowerPoint. He's
I
going
know
to
he's
share with
leaving
us
us.
He
about
is leaving.
something. And
So in late February, early March next year, I think we need another baseball episode, baseball
part two.
special.
Yeah,
Oh,
And
yes.
not only do we need the professor to join,
Marianne.
but we need, I don't
the
know, Marianne.
professor's brothers.
We need the professor's brother, Daniel, to also join.
It's not that you're
I
not
will
good
see
enough
what
for
I
us.
can do.
Good
I'll
man.
see what I can do.
And we will find a time to get to Lansing to visit both of you and the puppies.
That
Oh
would be
yeah, I
great.
say I hope that someday I can come down and actually shake physical hands.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear, it's lcc.org. You can go and find the podcast.
lccconnect.org.
Oh, excuse me, LCC Connect.
Yep,
So-
lccconnect.org. And on that page, all the programs the college produces, they each have a little icon button, and you'll see mine. Keep scrolling down.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, I appreciate your time. Thank you. This was
Thank
a great
you.
episode. We'll probably end up doing a secondary episode, because this one I think is going to have a heck of a lot more coming out in the next couple weeks.
Sounds good. And hey, give me a call or a message, and I'd be glad to come back on to
Sir,
discuss.
take care.
All right, you guys take care.
Thank you, David.
See
You
what
gotcha. Yep. Bye-bye.
I'm trying
while
to
we
spell
wait for your
connect
next special guest. I got to pee.
org.
You and me both.
And
Thanks for
possibly
telling
get
the
more.
world.
And possibly
All right.
get more beer.
You guys do that. I will sit here and talk because that's what I do. I cannot send any messages. That's weird. So we were talking student loan relief. And in a minute here, we're going to have, I say in a minute, momentarily here, we're going to have a student on to talk about her specific student loan issues. I'm sending her a message right now. And she will talk about the school that she went to. She went to a specialized school and did not get what she thought she was paying for. And hopefully that will start soon here. But either way, while all of my guests have left me and my co-host, I guess both of my co-hosts and my guest, I'm going to go back to the student debt relief thing. So I had mentioned before, my thoughts would be tier the interest to a certain forgiveness depending on what you're going into. So like right now we have a teacher shortage. So if you're going into teaching, I would like to see that interest rate capped at like, let's say 2%. But if you're going into, let's say, finance, which we are not having a shortage of finance majors, let's say
So like,
there's,
you're a finance major.
I am a finance major, but I did not take out loans. Let's say they are capped at 5%. I don't think it should be bigger than 5%. That's just my personal opinion. But you're going to school to better yourself and to better the country as a whole, because an educated population is a more productive population. I think that should be capped at 5%. Nick, your thoughts on the capping?
You know what? It's funny because that's one thing you and I agree on.
Mhm.
Because I'm not a person who likes to tell. All right, so how do I say this? I'm not a person that likes to tell a business how much money they can make. but I am a person who likes to tell the fucking government how much they can make. So, yeah. Right. And so I don't think the government should be making that kind of money.
Yeah, but you know the government's only making 5% because we talked about that number.
Yeah.
But
They're making
other loans are making 7.5%.
and so, right, like private stuff, and that should be capped as well.
It should be
If
because
you want to get in that
there-
loan industry,
here's my
so
other.
here's the problem. So if you want to get in the loan industry for that, we've already have proven history that guess what's gonna happen? Your little bitch ass is gonna get bailed out because you know how to fucking make goddamn loans.
Correct.
You're over here going, oh well, they can't bankrupt it, so I'm guaranteed my money forever. You're gonna make that
I
loan.
would totally say
You're gonna make that loan.
student loans should be bankruptable.
Mm.
No, they totally should be bankruptable. Wait a minute. You're going to tell me a kid at 18 can take out a student loan and you can't say they can bankrupt on that. But some douche fucking bag can buy 8 houses at 26 and file bankruptcy.
Mhm.
What do you mean?
Okay, so what do I get in return for your bankruptcy of your education?
What do you get in return for those houses that they absolutely gutted and are worth shit?
90% of them aren't going to gut them, and they're going to be worth that.
90% my ass. Go look at
back.
Go look at 2008 numbers.
Okay, let's go look at 2008 numbers. I mean, literally, it was
Most
like-
of those houses are worth shit because they left the fucking water running or they
No,
tore out all of the.
gosh, no.
Tore
Yes,
out
they
all the
did.
metal, the wiring, and the copper
I mean,
piping, and-
that's still happening, but like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it was
That happened
the
at a
market-
greater majority.
no.
Yes.
No, I mean, I bought a house that was not in perfect repair, and it was a foreclosure.
Yeah.
But
did they cut that shit?
No,
I think that's why Nick likes those things, because for him, he can buy
They
a
took the
house
carpet
really,
up,
really
yes.
cheap, fix
But
it
back-
up,
but
and
back
then
when I
rent it
bought-
for.
but you have to understand, back when I bought those things, my first few, I didn't know a damn thing, right? So, I
Mike
think,
corrected.
Mike correct. I think when you look at it, right, bankruptable. Okay, so if you go bankrupt on a student loan, so David stepped away, but the problem I see is, okay, so Mike, I'm a landlord, right?
Mhm.
One of my biggest qualifications is
The fact that you know how to
no,
fix
like
things in houses, yeah.
one of my biggest qualifications as a tenant is no bankruptcies in the past,
Oh yeah, it's that way, yes.
So now you're allowing the nation to fucking bankrupt themselves to get rid of their student. And if you allow, and here's how my brain thinks, right? Is if I allow you to go into bankruptcy, okay, let's say you're struggling, okay? You're $100,000 in debt in student loans, and you got a job that pays $40K a year, and you just can't pay this fucking debt back.
Yeah.
Okay, knowing that you're bankruptable, what are you gonna go do?
Declare bankruptcy.
Well, no, you're gonna go back and get more money, right?
Well, that could be too, yes. Go.
I mean, I might as well get as far in debt as possible.
Yeah.
For this, and then go declare
get
bankruptcy.
$500,000 in debt and then declare bankruptcy.
And-
Listen,
and-
that's where I think it's fine what he says about student loans being bankruptable, but I think it's got to be compounded to other things. Like, oh my God, I've got $100,000 in student loan. Plus, I just ended up with $200,000 in medical debt. Plus, oh my God, I just, lost a job, and it's a recession, and I can't, get a job that pays enough for me to make ends meet anymore. And
I would agree, and the problem is the government's so fucking lazy, they will never listen to the stories aspect of things. So Mike and I agree that, and apparently you said it. You had said that they can't just bankrupt just student loans. They have to have they have to have other stuff.
Yes.
But because my point was, all right, I'm $100,000 in debt. I'm making $40K a year.
Yeah.
And the only way out is bankruptcy. What do I do? With how easy it is to obtain a fucking college debt, I'm going to take out a shit ton. And guess what? hey, David, you want to make 20K?
If,
I'm now $800,000 in debt.
again, my
Get out here.
biggest issue is you have to look at those things
Why?
because you do.
No, the government will
The
not.
government
They're the
doesn't, but
laziest
they
people in the
need
world.
to.
No,
They need to sit there and look at it and go, so we had this conversation, so somebody I know, I will say somebody I know, had somebody go, well, you have student loans, just transfer that into a personal loan. No, not you.
not something I would fucking tell people to do.
Transfer that into a personal loan and turn around in 2 months and file bankruptcy.
I mean, if it's
If I'm anybody looking at that, I'm going, I was a student loan. You transfer that over. Fuck you, you don't get bankruptcy.
but that's the thing. Well, now you're asking for bankruptcy. And so, okay, so the point,
Again, student
the
loans
point
should
you
be
missed, the point you missed,
available.
the point you missed that I made to Mike is, right, I'm a landlord. All right, one of my qualifications to be a tenant, no bankruptcies.
You would not have rented it to me.
That's a fact. I mean, rented to you when we first met? No.
Right.
Rented to you now?
Yeah, but you wouldn't see my bankruptcy anymore. It was so long ago.
I would I would probably see it, right? But like, let's just say,
No,
okay,
you wouldn't see it anymore. It's gone. 10
Uh-huh.
years, it's totally fucking gone. What do you mean you would
how
see
long
it?
how long has it been?
Almost 20.
Okay, so and you've only been financially good for 7.
I've been financially good for
You won't
about
get a word in for like the next 10 minutes while they are.
14. About 14.
About 14. So 7 years in,
All right.
Hi.
and I've known you probably like it would have
You've known me since that point.
it would have taken a little bit longer. But like if you would have came to me and said, hey, we need a place to rent, that's why private landlords are shitty. But if I ran it like a business, that business states
Which you don't. We already know that.
say, but the business states don't do that, right? Like, and because statistics, right? Statistics are a thing. Okay, we go to the casino because we want to win money. We own a business because it's more of a guarantee if you work your ass off, right?
Hey, Ray's logging into Zoom right now.
Hey, we appreciate that.
She's
Ray,
already on Zoom. She's been on Zoom for like 3 minutes while you guys have kept arguing.
All right, you know how this goes, Mike.
we were.
I am
arguing,
well
we
aware.
were
Have you ever
discussing with
watched
passion.
their videos yet? Ray?
She is not.
No.
So, but she knows me enough. So
Yeah.
let's
Basically, I mean,
let's
let's
change subjects here,
On things.
and we are going to introduce our new guest, who is Ray.
It's not the same. It's not changing subject. It's the same subject.
Fuck off.
Just a new person talking
So,
about this subject.
Ray is I've decided one of my unofficial Star Wars daughters
I've just
because she's kind of savage like I am.
we've actually met in person. So
Have you?
oh, yeah, I was her see something.
And yes.
Oh, you were.
And because
Yeah, Nick had to watch Ray so people didn't get handsy.
Handsy with her.
I didn't really
No,
do too much
no,
watching.
I have to have a handler so I don't hit people if they do that. 'Cause
Okay.
I don't want to get
That-
kicked out of the group.
You
That
say
might
it
be a better
because
way of
you don't
putting it.
hit people, but we say it because we don't want anybody to get handsy with you.
It's funny because I have no problem hitting people. But and like it's funny because every time I walked up to her, I'm like, hey, you guys good? She's like, yeah. And then Chewbacca's over here like dying, and I'm like, and I just walk into the bartender guy and I'm like, give me a water, like Chewbacca's dying. And he's like, oh, I got anything for Chewbacca, man. Like, here you go. And I was like, and people are like, oh,
Probably it's not like Chewbacca can drink water while he's in costume.
well, he had to go
anyway.
around a tent and a canopy and 4 miles down just to like, do a Chewbacca drink. But all I'm saying is, say every time she's like, oh yeah, I'm good. And I was like, all right, so here I am running around like crazy.
Ray is very easy to please, honestly.
What is he saying about you there? He did share some of the follow-up from some of the discussions that were had during the Whitecaps game, and I am going to say I have you.
Thank you.
So Ray has a what? Ray has a very interesting
Student loan.
Yeah. So I don't know how much she can get into specifically because, there's might be current litigation going on. So don't say more than you can say, Ray.
I haven't been told I can't say anything.
Okay.
So, because technically I am I fall under the umbrella of the lawsuit, but I'm not directly involved.
Okay,
You're in a lawsuit over your student loan?
Sort of. So I applied this year for borrower defense to repayment because my college committed fraud. And if I submit an application, they are supposed to review it and investigate and then make a decision to see if I am eligible for loan forgiveness. Turns out the US Department of Education has not done anything with those applications since 2017. So a group of students sued the Department of Education to basically get them to address the applications. And there was a settlement proposed sometime at the beginning of this month to essentially streamline them. And it was given preliminary approval, and I received an email because I applied within a certain window, so I qualify. I would be affected if the settlement is approved for comment, and comment will be collected until September 8, and then a judge will review them and make a final decision. If it is approved, I get put into a timeline where the US Department of Education has 30 months for me to give me an answer on my application. They will not be doing
2.5 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
If you applied like in 2017, it's like 6 months, but because I applied more recently, I have a longer waiting time. If I don't get an answer within 30 months, it's automatically approved. And they're not going to be doing any investigation. They're going to take everything in the application as fact, which gives me even better chance of getting approved. And if the settlement goes through, an approval means a complete cancellation of your remaining student loans, and I get all of my money back that I paid, which would be amazing.
So
You could stop stocking shelves at the library.
good.
This country isn't good enough for that. I'm going to be working till I die.
Well, hopefully you'll listen to us and you won't have to. So
I say
Ray,
that's like the worst attitude to come on the show with. Is
I mean, I thought that 15
Well,
years ago.
no. She's still right. I mean, the country basically.
Yeah.
this country is the
does.
most amazing country.
No, it's not. It totally fucking is not.
it is.
You're an idiot.
That's it.
I would
so-
normally I enjoy your banter, but this time I'm going to fully agree. And yes, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. So Ray,
If you don't like America,
No.
you guys can just get out.
I would
Yeah.
I would love
get
to.
the fuck out of
If
you
if
get
it
the
wasn't
fuck out.
for
We're
if it
working on it
wasn't
October,
for-
right?
But yes, we are. If I had won the fucking Powerball, my ass would have bought an island and I would be there right fucking now, and you would do the show, even
If-
though you
if-
don't know how.
Oh yeah.
if either I had no kids or like my ex-wife were completely out of the picture, I would not be living in the United States right now.
I have like 5 kids. I mean, I only have 1 kid, but I have like 5 kids, and they're all over 20. So
I said Ray could move with you in a heartbeat.
I mean, I have Caitlin.
My only
obviously.
my only adult kid is Chloe. Well, no, Chloe's
Chloe's
18 now.
17.
Okay, so I gotta wait for her too now.
Yeah, she's not an adult yet. So
I've
Caitlin,
adopted
who's-
Chloe, who's might not be working at break room therapy much longer.
Yeah, that's totally makes me sad. Especially because I bought her an alligator organ today. So I have Caitlin, I have Anna, I have Ray, Colin, and Andre. Only one's my daughter.
Yeah.
But the other 4 I'm fucking claiming. I don't give a shit. So Ray went to a school because she wants
quotation.
to a school.
Technically.
Are
Because
you in a
She went to
dorm
an
right now?
institution of some
No,
sort.
she's not there anymore.
Oh, like when you made the lawsuit,
She was never in a dorm.
Oh, okay.
It was a school. How many were there? Like 70?
So when I started, my class was 60, and that was for the associates program, which was accelerated. So I did 24 credits a semester. and got my associate's degree in 1 year. And then the bachelor's program was 2 years, and that was 19 students.
So Ray was going into basically the entertainment industry.
What type of school offers entertainment?
It's a school in Grand Rapids. It's actually kind of popular.
Okay.
And so just to give the background here for a minute, because I like to give background. Ray is an extremely talented costume. So she joined the Rebel Legion, I want to say in 2018 or 2019?
I think it was 27. No,
I think it was earlier
2018?
because she was in before I started.
She was in before you started, but you started
think
in what, late
2018.
18 or 19, one of the
So
two.
Ray started, in her first event with the Rebel Legion was an ice cream social in, I want to say Porter Hills, maybe. It was something north of town. And it was her, Vader, and me as a Tuscan. And Ray had a staff. We call her Ray Ray because she plays Ray. I mean, she has other things now, but she ultimately joined the Legion as Ray, and she had a staff for Ray that was made out of cardboard. And unless she told people it was made out of cardboard, nobody fucking knew. It looked like screen accurate. It was awesome.
Mine's not movie quality, but it's okay.
Hers was.
Nice.
So she had the Dale Doback version of
Chewbacca mask.
yes,
Yes.
she did. So honestly, so like I messaged Ray earlier in the week and I said, hey, where am I in the line of stuff that you're doing? Because I asked her to, commission some stuff for me and Caitlin, and she goes, yeah, I feel really bad because I don't have time to do anything. And I said, yeah, just keep me on the list, because I mean, I've been asking for this shit since like 2017, and 2022, we're 5 years later, so I'm in no rush.
Should I ask
want
her
good
back in
shit, and I know she
2017,
makes
you
good
probably could've
stuff.
got it to you by
Right.
now.
So, all right, what did you go to college? You went to college for entertainment.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I
Videography?
went for a Bachelor of Film and Media Arts.
There we go. Okay. And what do you do now?
I put books on shelves at a library, and I work retail, and I also volunteer at a theater. I've got like 11 jobs.
I think so. I really think I'm going to volunteer at a theater. Remember how we kind of
You know
talked?
people here.
Remember how we kind of talked about like things might not be the same for me here very soon.
Yeah,
So I went to a play at the Civic Theater,
yeah.
and all of a sudden I see like the stage, and I was like, God, I just want to build it. And I was like, and they're gonna technically officially pay for the stuff. I just have to build it. And I'm like, I can do that.
So not to
um,
take us off on a tangent, but that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
I went out to dinner last night with Jenna and Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, before the world ended in 2020. One of the last events that we did as a family was we went to Les Mis at Miller.
Oh yeah, nice.
And because we've done Star Wars events down there, we know one of the stage managers, and we sent him a message, and he's like, hey, I can give you a backstage tour of all the stuff at Les Mis. So, I mean, we went backstage, saw the costumes, the sets, everything.
Yeah.
Can I just
I
say
was
something?
so fucking happy. Yes, Mike.
I hate you,
I know you do, because that's Mike's favorite musical.
hands down.
My second favorite.
Honestly,
musical.
just one of, I mean, I read the book and it was a very slow read, but the overall story is one of like my favorite stories.
It's gonna
like,
it's gonna be in Chicago in February if you want to go. Just
yeah, but I can't get a backstage tour.
no, you won't get a backstage tour. I'm just saying it's gonna be in Chicago in February. If
I'm
you
just
want to
saying
go.
that's why I hate you.
I know why you hate me. I'm just saying. So yeah, that would have been one of those things that Ray's like, oh my god, that's awesome, because she makes that type of stuff.
Right.
Well, can you make me a Jean Valjean costume?
No, I have no life.
Can you?
She has no time to do that shit.
Can you make
No.
me a Yoder
She has like
costume?
17 jobs.
Have the beard for Yoder. I love this conversation.
I hate you.
Just a straight look.
Fucking
Actually,
hate
maybe I'd
you.
rather have a
Just
Javert costume, because even though, yeah, Jean Valjean's the main character, I mean, Javert has better songs.
He does
So-
have better songs.
All right, so you're into debt,
Yeah.
because of this college, and this college committed some type of fraud that you're maybe getting money back for. Like fraud as in they didn't give you the correct grades or something, or fraud as in your degree
It's
doesn't actually mean
accreditation
shit?
related, isn't it?
So when I when I was at the school, like our equipment was kind of held together by duct tape. None of the teachers seemed qualified. Like everything was like a little off. And we were paying a lot of money to go to this school, but it wasn't going to the teachers because they weren't getting paid very well. And it wasn't going into the equipment, and it wasn't going into the building. When we showed our thesis project for our graduation in front of all of our friends and family, the light bulb in the projector died, so it was tinted green. Nobody, and like the sound system only worked if you kicked it at the right angle. So, I mean, there was all kind of like weird things. Then we graduated and got our diplomas and noticed that they were incorrectly dated. It was printed on computer paper. There was no official seal or gold foil, and they misspelled privileges. So that was a bit concerning, but we all kind of just were over it at that point. Fast forward a couple years, and some people in the grade beneath me wanted to get master's degrees. So they applied to schools and they're like, hey, I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts. And they're like, yeah, sorry, this isn't a bachelor's. This isn't a legitimate bachelor's. And it turns out no accredited college in America will recognize a degree from that school as valid. It's essentially on the same level as getting a cosmetology certificate.
Jesus Christ. So no matter what you do, you're screwed.
Mhm.
No,
I gotta ask this.
so
Can you give us? I don't want the
Is this-
exact
is
numbers.
this
Give us a
still around?
ballpark. Hang on. Give us a ballpark of what you
Uh,
pay.
About 60,000,
for all 4 years.
3 years. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you went to a accelerator. But yeah. And then is the school still around?
Yes.
Oh, no shit.
Do they still have
Okay.
students?
So like
Yes.
Oh,
I would say
Actually-
off recording, you could probably ask her. She would probably tell you what school it is.
oh,
but-
totally. She would.
yeah.
Oh, I'd be fine
Um,
naming it now. I don't care.
All right. So
Yeah,
We're
still
gonna ask you
protect
not to
from your-
name it right now because we don't want any issues
Yeah.
with you not getting your money back.
also it's like now you work in a job because you've wasted 3 years of your life. Something that means nothing to anybody
Well, I mean, she works in 3 jobs.
in the actual field. Right. So like you no matter what you do, you can't get a job in your field.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't always need a degree to work in film. It's more based on experience. So we did get some knowledge while we were there, but always having a degree will help. I think out of the 60 students that were in the associates program, I know 2 that are working in some sort of film. One is doing camera work for a news station, and the other one interned on The Walking Dead and had to live in his car in order to do so. But I haven't heard anything since then.
So if you ever need
Could have
to
used
close
Nick
into
and
the,
Brent when they were still in the news locally as
I say, if you ever need news,
stepdad.
let me know. One of my very good friends is a very high up person. And
I don't know news people anymore. They all quit.
No, mine
Yeah.
is still living a beautiful life and loves what he does. And yeah, no, I've gotten a lot of people jobs.
In what region of the United States?
Midwest.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
No, you wouldn't have a clue.
Okay.
Yeah, I could. No. But so it's funny. I went to a Dodge Viper race years ago.
Is that your dream car?
It was right, and so and there was a girl who was the daughter of somebody, and oh yeah, my dad's out there, blah blah. And I was like, cool. Talk about what we're doing. I was like, oh, you need a connection, right? Like,
Yeah.
my friend is literally the head director of this. Granted, he's my fucking age, And she's like, oh, bro. And I was like, I pulled him up and she like then takes me serious. And she's like, well, I'll reach out to him. Yeah, now has a job doing that stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's just all about telling me what you want to do. And I know everybody in every goddamn industry.
Part of it
It's
is who you know.
a factual statement.
Yeah,
And-
that was a really big selling point of the school. The person who gave me the tour before I applied, basically checked every box that's required
Keanu
for
Reeves twin.
applying to borrower defense tour payment. He said the 99% of students who graduate have a job in the field, and that's because the class sizes are so small, and they have connections all over the world. Like they've got connections with Disney and Marvel and independent film sets, and he was rattling off some places that they've had graduates working at. And like he's like, we've got some who are working for Marvel now. And like he gave me a tour of the school, and it's plastered with movie posters that are signed by like producers from the films. So there's a lot to like back up the claims. And I think it was because my class was one of the biggest ones they had. Before that, they had like 10 students. So they could probably
and you had
get
66.
Yeah, they could probably get connections, because it's a lot easier to do for a class of 10 than it is for a class of 60.
Even then, I
But-
mean, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
But by the time we got there, we were told every student is guaranteed an internship upon graduation. And if they have a list of connections that they have, where they're like, you get to look at this list, and if there's something you like, the better you perform at the school, the higher pick you get. I graduated as salutatorian and was pulled into the vice president's office and told that I would be on my own for finding an internship and would not be receiving any help from the school, because I was telling the underclassmen that the school doesn't have any connections, because they didn't. And we were all like blindsided by that. We all thought that there was going to be a list of places that we could intern, and there was no list.
Oh, that's
Yeah, because
rough.
like as a salutatorian, you could be like, if they have all those connections, you could be like you could have been working on a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
You could have been Daisy Ridley's stunt double.
I could have been Daisy Ridley.
You could have been Daisy Ridley.
A friend. So this is how connections work in my life.
Yeah.
I was drinking beer with a friend of mine who happens to be a beer brewer, and his wife's a teacher. Makes us great. They had a friend over who does lighting or animations and video game. Now with working on a video game specific, well, like work for Disney and all that. Like I was like, what the fuck do you mean lighting? And they're like, and so we got into this detail. I was like, I didn't know that was like a job aspect of things. It's like everything. But it was like one of the coolest jobs. Like as like a kid, you're like, oh dude, I think that would be awesome. But like as an adult looking at it going, God, I would never want to do that. Right? Like, but
the kid who gets coffee for Steven Spielberg gets mentioned in the credits.
Yeah.
Right, which is huge. But so that being said, like talking about what I did, what she did, stuff like that. And she's like, hey, I have this tree that needs to come down. You know, somebody, and I was like, within like a matter of minutes, I was like, if you ever need anything in the house, I got you. If I ever need anything on something really sweet, like she's like, I got you. I was like, yes.
So this is the shit that pisses me off about, when we talk about student loans and student loan forgiveness. So, Ray, you started the school at what age?
Right out of high school. So I was 18.
And how much did you know going into it, or how much did you just believe that you were told?
I believed everything that I was told. I'm also the oldest. So this was my first time my parents were going through having a child in college. So, I mean, they kind of had the stuff to back it up. So when I started going there, the associate's program was pretty good. It was when I went into the bachelor's that everything started falling apart. And I learned that the guy who gave the tours, who's actually the recruiter, his previous job was doing sales pitches.
No, of course. Yep.
And
Wrong with
he's a pathological liar, I've come to find out. Because he told me, I went to a Christian high school. He told me that the school was faith-based. He didn't tell other people that it was faith-based. So when we had to take religion classes, half of my class had no idea that that was going to be a requirement because it wasn't a selling point to them. So we didn't mention it and it wasn't on the website. So we have a bunch of people, a lot of whom were atheists, and they're like floundering in a religion class because they don't know anything. They don't have a history with it like I did growing up. And they're like, if I had known that that was a thing for the school, I wanted to come.
So we're talking, you were 18, you're roughly 25 now. 25, 26.
26.
So we're 8 years later.
Old.
And
From the 48-year.
essentially you knew nothing going into it. So you took their word for it because they were the expert.
Yep.
And you entered into, let's say, student loans, thinking that they had your best interest in mind. True or false?
Yeah. I was told that if I wanted to get into film, they were the ones that were going to be able to help me.
So you went $60,000 into debt off of these lies. And these are the type of situations when we're talking of student loan debt that probably bother me the most. At 18, at 22, at 26, you don't understand the ramifications of what you're signing into here.
No.
And if your parents haven't gone through it before, they don't either. And I had seen a message on Reddit the other day, and it was basically, why don't they teach a financial class to high school students? I answered it and I said, because if they teach it to high school students, they won't be indentured servants for the next 60 years of their life. And that's honestly the reason it is, because what makes this country move is the workers continuing to show up to those shitty jobs with shitty pay and working them. And if you don't have a reason to hold them to those shitty jobs, they don't do that. So Ray's 26, she has 3 jobs, she has debt. If you didn't have debt, Ray, would you keep showing up to all 3 jobs?
I'd have at least one job.
But would you have 3?
No.
And that's kind of the point. I mean, you sucker these kids in.
So why?
What?
Different topic. Talk about that another day.
You sucker these kids in when they don't necessarily know anything and they don't have any basis to know anything, and their parents don't know anything because they didn't go through the shit either.
Did your parents go to school, right? Like
Yes.
college? But even then,
actually,
I mean, loan programs were different, like we
Way
talked
different.
about in the previous part of the episode.
yeah, because when this first hit the news, the loan forgiveness, my dad said, well, student loans have always been this way. And so I was like, okay, what year did you graduate? And he said in the 90s, in 90. And I was like, okay, the average cost of a 4-year college was between $6,000 and $7,000. That includes room and board. And adjusting for inflation, that's about like $13,000, $14,000 now. And I was like, so you can't compare my 60,000 and my sister's 80,000, which she just added another 40,000 to because she's advancing her degree, to $13,000.
Well, in case in point, so I started college in 95, and I spent between $1,300 and $1,500 for a semester. And my daughter started in 14 and spent $3,200 to $3,500 a semester. So we're
I really
talking
can't talk
$2,000
about
more.
mine,
I was
'cause,
probably
I
in
went to
your-
an expensive school to begin with. So mine was like 16 as a freshman, and then like 20 for the rest of the 4 years.
100 or 1,000?
1,000.
Shit. So,
16,000 was my freshman year.
Mike went to Albion.
$20,000 was
I didn't
every year
even realize- I
beyond
thought
that.
Albion was poor people college.
Albion's a Division III school.
Yeah.
It is
So
a
they're
private
private.
school, kind of like
I went
Kalamazoo
to Davenport,
College.
trust me, that was expensive.
Davenport got really expensive
Well,
in the
like,
last
I went,
15 years.
I went to CC, and I don't remember what I like. I was a cocky young ass kid, right? I was working. I mean, I was like you. I took 24 credit hours, worked a full 60-hour a week job. You know, I mean, I was working 16-hour days, and then, you know, I would go to school, go home and sleep for 4 hours, go to work, go home and sleep for 2 hours, go to school, sleep for 2 hours, work. Like I was like your wife. I had 4 hours of
Yeah.
sleep in a day. And I passed my stuff. I did fine because, again, to me, it didn't matter. All that mattered was D's get degrees,
Yep.
right? Like, I don't need to be a valedictorian. I don't need to be anything. I need a fucking degree.
Yeah, but
And so,
when
but how much did
when-
it cost? I don't know. I was making more than that at Steelcase.
when jobs are looking for graduates nowadays,
Oh my
they have certain requirements. I get job, places contacting me all the time. They're like, "Hey, apply for this job. You have to have at least a 3.2."
Yeah.
Well, for me, that's no issue. I have a 3.9.
Sure. So,
But
me,
most of those jobs, I'm like, yeah, fuck off. You're offering, $18 an hour. I make 36.
and that's the hard part is, you know, you and I both know that not about the, like, I'm more the salesman guy, right? Like, I will literally be a recruiter for something because that's where the money's made. If you can
Yeah,
sell
you
it,
could get a job that recruiting for the school that Ray is trying to get her
I
money back from.
might go work there.
You're totally full of shit. You wouldn't work there.
You wouldn't work there because you know they're bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
You will sell something you believe in.
Facts.
But if it's something you don't fucking believe in,
Yeah.
you're not selling.
Not gonna happen. But like, right, so like, I don't know. I feel like I was pretty cheap per credit hour. I mean, I was less than, because I had 24 credit hours, roughly. I don't think I was even paying $2,400, so I was less than $100 a credit hour.
Caitlin paid somewhere between 32 and 3,500 for that first semester
Yeah, and
at CC.
say she's in Kent County too, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So,
And she took 13 credit hours to the first term of her freshman year, first semester of her freshman year.
It's about $30 a credit hour.
yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, I think, Ray, you made a point about like what your, like dad or whoever would have paid when he was going to school. And you're right. I mean, like I said, I went to a very expensive school, but you're right. Probably for even like going to like Michigan State or whatever, $6,000-7,000 a year owed a lot of pocket at that point in time. Like, he would have basically been graduating from college around the time my brother was going into college. So, that's not, overly bad. The difference too is that was student loan debt that until you were done with school for a certain period of time, didn't accrue interest. When you started going to school, you accrued interest from the day you took that loan out. And so, yeah, I mean, he may have owed, let's say, $18,000 at the end. That's finally when he started paying interest. If you had to take $20,000 out for that first year of school, you're paying interest from that point. And
Well,
then adding another $40,000 on top of it.
We talked about that with Professor Siwik before Ray jumped on. Again, if you took student loans back to what they were when we were in middle school or high school, they were fine. I mean, you took out a student loan, it paid for the stuff you needed, books, tuition, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months after you graduate, you start accruing interest.
Yeah, which means if
So
you had
you
a way
have
to
that-
like pay off a big portion of them right after graduation.
Correct. And
only
not
interest.
only that, but their accruing interest was like 2 or 3%.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, hey, you took out a student loan, you're 18 years old, and you're paying 7.5% right now.
I mean, I have a bad example from that. Like all the student loans I took out were basically my mom using her job to pay for me to go to school. She charged me 0% interest.
That's one of the.
She was like, as long as I get my money back, it's worth, for me to go to school was worth it for her.
And I get, and I guess this is a great time to make the point. Me being the person I am. So Gentex and all these other companies, right? There's a lot of tuition reimbursement happening, FedEx, UPS, stuff like that.
Any meaningful company
I-
has tuition reimbursement of some kind.
I think that that's the idea. Like, so if you're going into a career aspect, so to me, I think instead of going to college to get your degree in film, right? I think you should go find a job and have that company either hands-on train you, because I'm more of a tradesperson, right?
But again, what job is going to pay you to go to film school?
Something in the film industry.
Yeah, where do you find that here?
Yeah, so unless you're like,
Mm,
You're
maybe
not
you're
finding that
Nicolas
here.
Cage, who's, Francis Ford Coppola's, like, great nephew or whatever.
Right.
and Get
So,
right into
I
the
could get
film
my
industry.
finance degree paid for because finance is one of the things that could benefit my company.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the big thing, is companies will only reimburse you for things to benefit them. Like, I work fully in science. If Ray worked where I work and she was going for a film degree, unless they felt they needed somebody who could do cinematography for like marketing videos, they're not going to pay her for.
So right, so like
that.
she didn't sell herself to that company, or she's not working for that right company, right? Like, there's
Mhm.
a million marketing companies out there. I have a friend that I have like 3 friends that own 3 different marketing companies. I mean, that's what they do.
Well, and again, she
So-
looked at, I'm 18, this is what I want to do, and this school is promising to me.
Yeah.
If you come to this school, not only will you get a great education, but you're going to be guaranteed a job afterwards.
Yeah.
And at 18, you don't know any better.
I don't know. If I was 18 and they guaranteed me a thing in the field that I wanted,
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck, let's go. And the problem is like, you're a nice girl. If I was
Yeah, you don't
promised
know her well.
if I
I
was
don't know if
promised
she's that nice.
if I was promised an internship and I got pulled into the vice president's office, I would have been expelled that minute. Right? Once he told me you're on your own, it would have been straight, just jacked to the face.
Part of me surprised she didn't get kicked out of his fucking office because
I
she's
did laugh in his
very
face.
nice.
Yeah.
I
So
did
I've got a-
laugh in his face when he said that.
As a side to that story, I've got to ask, the reason why you were probably telling younger students it's all basically a farce was because you had people who had graduated before you who were basically saying, yeah, all this stuff they told us was a lie.
The people ahead of me weren't. But when I learned that it was all a lie, I wish that somebody would have told me that sooner. And because we had a certain amount of time to find an internship, and none of us were looking for one because we thought that there was ones that we could pick from.
Yeah, you'd
So I
basically be
was-
like, hey, I want that one. And they'd be like, great, call this person, you're set.
Yeah, because if I had known I would be looking for one myself, that if I had gone into it knowing that, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But because we didn't know that, I was telling people in the grades under us, like, hey, just so you know, you need to start looking for an internship now because they are not helping you. There is no list to pick from. So start looking now. And they're like, you're spreading false information and scaring the students. You need to stop. And so I laughed at him and I walked out of his office.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done a hell of a lot more. No, and I don't know. We talk about things that can fix things, and I think, I don't know. It's more communist aspect to think that people need to declare what they're going for and not be able to change it. Because if I'm okay, you and me were financially responsible people for the most part. If I'm giving my money out, who are you giving it to? Right? Are you giving it to the person that's going for what do you call it?
Lesbian dance theory.
Lesbian dance theory? Or are you giving to the person that's going for go med therapy, blah blah blah?
I'm the wrong person to fucking ask.
Who are you giving it to?
So when it comes to giving out money,
a big
Yeah.
church or school.
I mean, granted, this is a loan that you have to get paid back on.
yeah, I do that. I do that with my investments.
Right.
And so Prosper is a great example.
It's true.
Mhm.
I have a couple that are A-rated with Prosper, but the majority of mine are D, E, or not even fucking rated.
Are they paying?
They pay.
Good.
Because I look at the background of what they are. So, like, one of them is a truck driver from Illinois. He makes $75,000 a year, and he needs like $8,000. So I threw some money at that. He was late, I don't know, 15 times in a row. So I got late fees on top of it, but he always fucking paid.
Yep.
He might pay, 60 days instead of 30,
Yep.
but I'm getting my money back.
Yep, and then some.
And I think, you make a good point about Prosper, because probably, that's one of the areas you told me
Yep.
to go to when I was going through my divorce. And it was like, I wanted something to basically be able to say, here's a lump sum of money to basically give to my ex-wife to say, the credit card debt is now all in your hands.
Yep.
I was probably one of those C or D rated people because my credit score was low at that point. I was going through a divorce, so, I didn't know but again, I paid everything on time. And now, yeah, like if I were to get a Prosper loan now, people would probably be like, oh, you're an A or a B because of your credit history and everything else that's going on.
So,
Well, when I sit here and I look at someone like Ray, again, she walked into this believing the best in people, not realizing people are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
She's 26 now. She realizes people are fucking horrible. If she was walking into that situation right now, she would approach it way differently.
oh yeah, I mean, now, what so are you making payments on your student loans?
I haven't been as regularly since they've been halted, but I did pay them off in large chunks since interests have been halted.
Okay, so you're actually making some payments. And then 30 months, geez, and as of September 8th, right?
So
Okay.
sometime after September 8, a decision should be made.
Okay, that's a long time. It's nice to get your money back.
It would be nice for her to get her money back. Because again,
So
what she has is essentially useless.
Okay, yeah, what you have is useless. What are you doing to make it not useless?
I mean, I'm kind of stuck with that certificate at this point, so I'm just trying to work jobs to pay it off.
Why aren't you right? Like, so why aren't you working for like local news? Why aren't you working for the one that it's like it's WOTV or whatever, like the
GZM or whatever.
no, like it's the local aspect of things. Like they go to the Berlin Fair and record that.
Oh, you mean like the
You're
actual
like A
like
West or some shit.
AWS is still Wood TV or whatever. Like this is like
Miranda?
you're
no,
talking
this is
no.
small town
He's talking about like public access.
public access.
Okay.
Like I mean, that's my buddy in high school, the guy who's been fantastic life.
He's talking about the people that air C-SPAN when they're not airing
Yeah.
anything else.
Pretty much it, right? So like, why aren't you doing that like to get more out there to practice what you want to do? Like, I mean, what's keeping you from getting those types of jobs?
So when I started at the school, I didn't quite know what aspect of film I wanted to do, but as I was there, I decided that I wanted to do stuff based in like costume and production design, and then like also like graphic design. So I focused a lot on that during the bachelor program. And there's not really a whole lot available for costume and production design in the area.
Sure.
And I did not have the money to be able to leave the state. And I wasn't going to live out of my car because that's dangerous. So when I found an internship, it was at a theater, and I was the creative media intern. So I was photographing and filming and making posters for all of their art camps, because they had it was an art center and theater. So like I was recording promos for their Broadway shows, and I was photographing the actors and promoting their Arts Day camp and the mural design that they were doing. And like that's a lot of what I like. I loved that job. But there wasn't an opening there, so I couldn't apply for something there. So I went on to another graphic design internship, and a job opened up there, and I applied and didn't get it. So I went to yet another one and applied for a job there and did not get it.
Were some of
And I
those
went to the
related to the
library.
fact that your basically degree was found to be considered not accredited or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I don't know. I know when I got my internship, it was brought up that I went to this school, and they asked my opinion of my time there, and I was honest and said it was pretty hard. And they're like, oh, good, because I work in some local film, and we know that this school is kind of a joke. And later, she told me that she was hesitant to hire me as an intern because I went to that school, that she felt she was taking a risk by doing it. She was glad she made that decision, but I almost didn't get the job there because of the school.
Which is too bad that, like, well, I mean, I'm sure you probably, like, when that internship ended, you were willing to, he was probably willing to give you a recommendation for some of these other jobs, because at that point she knew you were a hard worker. But some people I know can't look past the degree issue if that's what they're looking for, and that's unfortunate in today's society.
So I'm gonna jump in here because I don't know shit, and I'm just gonna throw crap at the wall because that's what I do. My thoughts would be, do you have a portfolio put together?
Yeah. Or I
So
did.
you,
It's probably outdated.
okay, so you have like your graphic design stuff.
Mhm.
But do you have your costuming stuff?
Yeah.
Good. So I would be taking that and literally sending that to fucking everyone. And not here, but everywhere.
Everywhere.
Whether that's New York or London or California or Florida, or wherever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter to me. Just send that shit out there.
I guarantee you
Because
right now, Ray, with people you know, if you were like, oh my God, I have to relocate, but I can't afford to, there'd probably be people willing to help you pay for relocating for a percentage, for like, you know, a small loan or whatever, because they know how talented you are.
well, and not only that, I mean, you know, if you went to certain areas, there are people that know people in those areas.
Mhm.
So they might be able to set you up with something that, you know, you're not thinking of or they're not thinking of, but
Mhm.
options are out there. The biggest thing that Nick and I always talk about is you kind of got to make that shit happen. Nobody's going to do it. And I know you're talented enough to do pretty much anything because I've seen your work. I would be pushing that on everyone. Hey, look at this stupid fucking cardboard staff I made. It sucks. But
If you want to make a Tusken Raider who's riding a Rancor,
I mean,
But I mean, you know,
I'll get on like a camel or something with my Tusken Raider outfit, and then you just,
everything
know,
you do, why isn't that
right.
on TikTok, right? I mean,
oh, she does a ton of shit on TikTok.
are you making?
She is
are
all
you,
over
Are you
TikTok.
making money on TikTok?
No,
Why?
I don't have that big of a following.
Yeah. So there's.
how big is your following?
I've got I think I'm at 11.9K.
Okay, so you're.
She's got a good following.
You're getting close.
And she has a lot of good stuff on TikTok.
And keep filming. Keep setting it up.
I will say, because we're talking about costuming, there was a friend I work with. This was after, you know, Whitecaps game. So, you know, I was just, of course, NCS for that one, but they, you know, they're a Facebook friend of mine. So, because all the pictures on that one were basically made public, I think either Christy or Jenny or somebody posted on then. They were like, and it was kind of like that one event at like DeVos Hall or whatever. It was, oh my God, did you guys actually get Daisy Ridley to come? And we're like, no, it's actually just somebody. And I told him, I'm like, it's a funny thing. Is I'm like, her name is Ray, so they call her Ray Ray because she's a Ray playing Ray. I said, but honestly, what you need to see is her Sabe, because if you think she looks a lot like Daisy Ridley, she looks a whole heck of a lot more like Keira Knightley when she's actually like in the white makeup and stuff as Sabe.
I mean, I've been told that since I was 12, so if I can make anything out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, I mean, you could do Pirates of the Caribbean, you could do Sabe, you could do, what was it? What, I know she did one of the Bronte sisters novels. I don't remember which one it was.
My goal is to make every outfit that Keira Knightley wore in Pride and Prejudice 2005.
Okay. I thought it was Pride.
I have one.
Who's that? Is that Emily Bronte or is that
Jane Austen.
Oh, Jane Austen. Okay. They're all the basic same. I mean, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ray, I think you should be updating that portfolio and sending it to everyone.
And say, you know, we're focusing on trying to help you versus what the topic is student loan.
Well, I mean, we talked about student loans for 2.5 hours.
What's that?
I mean,
You want a couple of Tuscans and single file line where your guys.
I mean,
You want action shots of
I'm
Tuscans.
just saying right now,
guys?
hang on for a minute, Nick. Mike, why did you bring up the camel thing?
Well, I brought up the fact of riding a freaking Rancor.
You said
which
a
I think
Rancor, but then you went to a camel.
Well, I can't ride a Rancor in real life.
I'm just saying that's kind of racist.
Well, yes, because you're a camel giant. Okay, I could ride like a horse or something like that in real life. I can't
just
ride
saying.
a
of
Rancor.
course.
That's a little racist. Go ahead, Nick. What were you gonna say?
You know, so now I'm not sure if we talked about it, but like your student loans
Mhm.
that you currently have out are not federally backed, right?
They're government student loans, yeah.
Oh, so there. Okay, so you'll get.
Well, that's why she'd, I think, be able to sue the Department of Education.
Yeah, that's how I'm eligible for borrower defense to repayment, because those only work on federal student loans.
Okay, and then do you have any private ones?
No, I just had the federal student loans and Parent Plus loans, but I've paid off my Parent Plus loans.
Okay. And will you get any of that back?
I believe because it's all under like my FAFSA account.
Yep.
I believe I get all of it back.
Can you explain what a Parent Plus loan is, just for listeners?
Nope.
I'm guessing
I
with
know
how it is.
I know technically my parents took out those loans
Okay.
for me, but I paid them back. Not my
So,
parents back. I paid the loans back.
Basically, your parents have to co-sign for these.
Yeah.
So the idea of a Parent Plus loan is it goes into your name as a student, your parent. So my mom refused to co-sign anything for me. My mom has helped me out in zero financial ways. We should make this very clear in life. No, granted, she's helped me once in a blue moon. The other day, she towed my car home because I told her I was broke shit. My wife's car died, and you know, I say I have thousands of dollars
But-
wrapped up into a fucking house.
But basically, Parent
So-
Plus loans are your parents took out a loan
Loan
for
for
you
you.
to go to school.
Yep, and
They're on the hook.
they're financially responsible as well.
Correct.
Now you have the rights to pay it, you have all that type of thing, and that's the problem is most parents don't rely. They're on the hook for that. Now when you're let's say, are you still living at home or are you have your
Yes.
own? Okay, so you are.
That way,
And-
all the money that I make can go directly to my loans.
What are you
Lives
down
in the
to?
same booming metropolis that Mr. Levian does.
What do
She
you-
does live in the same booming
no
metropolis that I
shit.
do. Yes.
What are you down to?
I'm down to I think 22,000.
And so we have okay, this is where you and I fight.
No.
Do you pay your student loans? You wish you did. She had 60K. She's down to 22.
No.
That's how the fuck you do it. Okay. You live at home.
Again, she
You
had
say,
federally backed
"Why-
student
what's your
loans.
percentage?
I honestly don't know.
5, 7,
It's not 7.
probably 5. But still.
But you probably actually
5 at the
continue to
high.
pay when like things like COVID happened. I mean, when she could, if she could afford it during that time.
Yeah.
when they weren't like requiring payment and continuing the interest on it, which helps a tremendous amount. And like I said, and that's where living at home helps too, is when all of a sudden all these other things stop being a fee because hey, I'm not going out and you know, eating food at restaurants or blah 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 or whatever.
Oh God, I wish I could.
And you can basically say, okay, now and then yeah, you kick out a lot of debt.
Mike's getting right on it. I mean, he's literally walking everybody through how to do this. So I have Mike on my side. So David, way to go.
Here's the entire thing. How many times have we talked about, hey, I'm going to make a new major purchase. Let's say like I'm buying a new set of appliances for my house.
Oh my God.
Hey, get this store credit card. It will give you 24 months, 0% interest. And you say, yes, I will do that because if you could pay off 75 to 80% of that during that 24 months, you could save a whole crap ton of money.
Yeah, but that's not even how that works. You have to pay off 100% of it, or they're charging you interest on all of it.
Well, that's true,
Yeah, on
but
the whole fucking thing. So Ray did it all the right way, but how many people have that ability?
So, everybody.
No, bullshit.
even when we get like Ummer on, and Ummer
Anyways.
talked about what he basically did to basically make himself
Dude, this dude
financially-
He
right?
rode a
Like,
bicycle for
independent.
years.
you've got to be willing to basically say, I'm willing to live on ramen noodles and hot dogs for
Yeah.
the next 4 or
Yeah.
5 years of my life.
I mean,
That shouldn't be the normal.
the North. Oh man, we're gonna get back to this.
No,
This is
that shouldn't be the fucking
shouldn't.
normal. You shouldn't have
shouldn't.
normal. You shouldn't sit there and go, I'm gonna buy a head of lettuce and that's my fucking dinner for the next week. Yes, you can do it. It doesn't mean it's a good idea.
right, but is taking out 60K for a loan a good idea?
Do you understand that when you're 18 fucking years old?
I mean, how many 18-year-olds go out and buy a brand new fucking Ford Raptor at $100,000?
They don't.
A shit ton.
Bullshit.
Go to fucking Granville High School. Go
Bull-
to Denison High School.
Okay, but again,
Bullshit.
you said the key word, Granville High School, which probably means the kid isn't taking the loan out for it. It means
Yeah, the
are
parents
paying
did.
I'd
for it.
say, still like
Anybody driving a nice fucking car in high school, their mom or dad took that shit out.
Or it's their mom and dad.
Grand Valley campus today.
Or their
And-
mom and dad was like, oh, I'm buying, the
This is business
newest,
truck.
Tesla in 2018, but then in 2020, it's like, oh, I'm upgrading to the newest Tesla. My kid can drive the 2018 Tesla now.
Let's stop for a minute. Ray, what was your first vehicle?
A 2001 Toyota Camry.
How'd you get it?
It was at an auto shop that a family friend owns, and I got it my senior year of high school. My
At
parents
Bruce's?
bought it, and I paid them off.
Which would have been in like what,
Bruce's?
2015-ish? 20.
I graduated
14.
high school in 2014.
So 2013-ish.
Was
It was still a
local to
12-year-old
you?
or whatever car at that point.
What was that?
The
It
local
was still a
shop
12
by
or
you?
Yeah.
Bruce, was it Bruce's?
No.
Oh, I will tell you right now, my daughter's first car.
Yeah.
I bought in 2010.
Yeah.
It was a 2002 Oldsmobile Alero.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She
Was it
wasn't
your
driving
aunt's?
no fucking Raptor.
All I'm saying is, if these kids are going out and there's people that make stupid decisions no matter what age or 18 and
Yeah,
above.
but again, if you're 16 or 17
Let's go
years
with
old,
18 where you're actually able
you're not getting a loan for
Correct.
it. You
But
can't
18
do it.
18 you are, and these kids are still making that stupid
At
decision.
18, you're not getting a loan for $100,000 vehicle. You're not getting
No.
a loan for $15,000.
You're not getting
Oh,
a loan that's not
No.
co-signed by a parent
Yeah.
at that age.
I mean, well, say,
What car company is giving you a fucking loan for a $50,000 automobile? You're in high school.
have you ever, well, it's 18 and above, right? So
Okay, 18-year-olds are in high school. My
Yeah.
daughter graduated, she was 19.
have you ever driven down 28th Street?
Uh-huh.
All of them.
Bullshit.
Hmm.
Bullshit.
Bet-
They might be
used-
giving you a loan, but
used
they're
car
required to
motor mall
co-sign
will
it because you
fucking
don't have
finance
credit
everything.
at
Used
that
car
point.
motor mall, you're right, at $189 a week.
That's what I'm saying. And then the other, like all of those from whatever.
But they don't have $60,000 vehicles.
You ever looked at them? we went to one place because my brother was looking at a car and I ended up buying it and making him pay me back interest because they wanted 25% interest. Granted, he would, but they wanted 25% interest. It was a 15-year-old car with 180,000 miles on it, and they wanted like 18,000 bucks for it.
Correct.
I was like, we're gonna go buy this used car for 180,000 miles, and I could buy it from a private sale for $2,000.
So again,
But people are financing that stuff.
because people are fucking stupid.
That's the whole point. Like, so why am
No normal company is looking at a fucking 18-year-old and giving them that kind of fucking loan.
no respectable company? I
Correct.
can't say normal because that's a normal thing for some reason.
It's a bullshit company.
That's exactly.
That's the problem. You're
A
talking
a
Best Buy
predatory
used cars,
100%.
JD Buyrider.
All those, right?
Yeah.
The predatory fucking lender.
You know,
companies.
I've dealt with JD Buyrider twice in my life.
No
You want
shit.
to know why?
Your
They
daughter
sent
did
me a little
something
postcard
stupid.
in the mail. They sent me a little postcard in the mail. Scratch this off, you win whatever's on the thing. The least you could win was $5. I went in there, I got my $5 both times. I went home.
See ya. But
I
right,
guess
so like
something. Oh God, what was it? It was some. It was either home improvement or something, and it was one of those scratch off things. And it's like you have a chance to win like $40,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Max is sitting there with me when I do it. He's like, you should go and call them. And I'm like, even if it's just like, I mean, it's probably an entry into the drawing or whatever. And then even then, it's probably $40,000 in whatever they want me to buy.
right, a $250,000
Yeah.
trailer that's worth $12.
Yeah.
So I basically
Um,
threw it in my recycling, was done with it.
So, I don't know. There's got to be a way to make it so that way people understand. Hey, this is what you're taking it out on. This is where you're going with it.
There are ways. But how does that benefit the person loaning the money?
Oh, it doesn't, and I don't care about that.
And you don't, and I don't, but those are the people that everybody's catering to. Because those are the ones we keep fucking bailing out with money constantly.
And I'm tired of it.
Yeah, so am I.
Yep.
I would much rather my money bails out people like Ray and tells Bank of America to fuck off.
Yep.
But I mean,
Well, you look at, like I said, 2008 is the perfect example. Like you said, I mean, Ray, I know you were still fairly young at that point. But I mean, it was like all those, TARP bailouts or whatever went to like all those mortgage companies that did, adjustable rate mortgage is a great idea up until the point when those rates go up to like 6%, and all of a sudden those people can't afford their mortgage payments. And then everybody was defaulted, and these banks were like all of a sudden short on money, and they're like, crap, we can't afford to loan to any more people. And
well, my favorite were described as the ninja loans. The no income, what was it? No income
jobless
job
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So basically they didn't check your income, they didn't check your job history.
Yep.
They just gave you a loan if you had a fucking pulse.
Yep, it's like they gave it to dogs too.
They did.
It's like, that was my favorite story to read was the dog.
The
Dog.
guy shows up to the house and the loan is in the dog's fucking name. And the renters are like, that's the owner's dog's name. You mean he's not paying the loan? Yeah, you're getting evicted, dude. This place is foreclosed on.
I mean, that's like, you can't make that stuff up. So we have been going on for quite a while. Ray, thanks for joining us.
Hang on.
Ray's only been on for like an hour and a half.
No. Say,
Before we stop this, so I've given ideas on how to fix shit. We've all talked. Ray, so when it comes to student loans, how would you fix student loans and the issues that we have? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I don't know a lot about a lot, so I don't mind paying for college. I just think it's an absolutely ungodly amount that it could be so much cheaper. And I don't know how, but there's no reason it should cost $100K to get an education, because that's
you don't
it's-
think
I mean,
the
it's-
professor should make that kind of money?
Well, I mean,
They don't.
a lot of that money's going to the sports teams, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah, no, I would
You-
agree.
you
No,
don't
I
think-
think you're,
You don't think the jersey sales that brings in the money should get that money?
If you took Michigan football away from Michigan,
Mhm.
okay,
at basketball.
and basketball.
Mhm.
So we'll take football and basketball out, women's basketball too, because they make a little bit.
And softball's
How
gonna
much would you-
probably start losing money because they've lost their coach.
How much would an education cost at that university now if we're just paying
How many kids would show up?
for the student? People would still show up to that school.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when you find, so Northwestern's a great example.
Mhm.
Horrible sports teams until their football team wasn't decent until 95.
It was decent for about 3 years.
And then they've had spurts here and there. Northwestern doesn't hurt for enrollment. Why?
'Cause they have,
Because academically, they're a great school to go
They
to.
are an absolute powerhouse academic.
They are
I don't give a shit
basically
about
the
any of
Ivy
those
League of
sports.
the Midwest. I'm in Purdue are the Ivy League of the Midwest.
And in all honesty, Michigan is up there academically as well. Notre Dame is up there academically as well. Do they need the sports teams to make money? No. Does it help? Absolutely.
shit tons.
So if they
But I
got
mean, I
rid
would say
of
to an extent,
those,
like Michigan, because they have high money making sports teams, is probably why they're able, like, in the professor said it, during the first 2 hours. They've got probably one of the best medical schools and the best teaching
Mhm.
hospital in the country because of the fact that they can subsidize that from other sources of income.
well, and when we look at some of that, so like I have a good friend who has been on this show many, many times, who him and his wife went to school with the Fab Five.
Oh, yeah.
And I have been told one of them specifically couldn't spell cat.
Especially that one was Chris Webber,
KAT.
No, it wasn't Weber, but I won't say who it was.
Jalen Rose.
I
It
will
was
not
one of the
confirm or
three.
deny.
It was either the two of them or Juwan Howard. It was.
I will not confirm or deny.
May have been Ray Jackson too. Who knows? It probably wasn't Jimmy
He
Walker.
doesn't think it's Jimmy King.
He's just fucking listing them all off.
I will say off the air who it was, but they couldn't spell cat.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, what we haven't figured out is why this $10,000 or right? Because $10,000
10 or 20 if you got the
20.
bell.
and
All like
why it's beneficial to give it to people. I mean, 20K pays off some, right? Well, actually, so I know Siwik thought it was only 20,000. When I looked up, when I said average debt at 35. So that puts people low.
So even if you had 35 in debt, if you
Yeah,
knock 10
15.
off of that, that's almost a third.
Well, I assume you probably got Pell, so you're probably
Even if you didn't, that's still almost a third.
look at what Ray said she still owes. I mean, if absolutely everything falls through in this, court case that she's involved, that she's kind of an outsider to, fails and that's like half her student loan.
Yeah.
That's remaining is forgiven.
yeah. I'm saying you live in rich people, USA.
And maybe
so
instead of
gonna
like,
get Pell.
the next 6 years living with her parents, she only has to live with her parents for the next 3 years to pay it off.
It's a lot easier to pay off 12 grand than it is to pay off 22.
Sure.
It took me a year to pay off 12 grand for my roof.
Especially, well, and then again, your roof is a situation where it's a flat interest.
Yes. I paid 3%. I borrowed the money from my daughter.
The student loan is you keep paying interest until you basically pay off that loan.
Yeah.
And I like your comment about the student loans, Nick, where you said you got a bill for like what, 275 or something like that.
$2.12. Yeah.
I mean, it was the same way when I basically paid off my last car when I'm like, okay, I've got this lump sum of cash. I'm going to pay it off. I went to the bank that day and I said, what do I owe? I said, okay, here's the money, because it took like 2 more days for it to, process for the full payment. I ended up getting a bill for like $2.15.
Yeah. Which is stupid.
It's very
Um,
fucking stupid.
I'm working on getting a payoff for the house that I have right now because I might just pay it.
Because unless you can go in there and walk in there with cash in hand, if it's a matter of, bank transfer or whatever, those take time. I mean, if you can walk in cash in hand and say, oh, I owe $10,000. Here's my briefcase with my, log handcuff attached to it.
Yep.
$10,000.
I know Nick wants to wrap up because we're at 3 hours and 20 minutes and it's after 9 o'clock and he has a longer drive than me.
And I
So-
have to fucking be up.
I have the shortest. Actually, Ray has.
Yeah, you and Ray
the
both have
shortest
the shortest drive.
You
You
see her
just
bed in
are
the
home.
background there.
I
Mine I have to actually like walk that way.
Yeah. So I greatly want to thank the professor for joining us. He's always an absolute delight. Ray, thank you for hopping on and giving us your 2 cents here. I'm always happy to talk money with you, and if you need other bullshit advice, I'm always around. Nick.
Yeah, say, I'm trying to figure out why I'm so tired. And I remembered I got a call at 2 a.m.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Because of Matt in the house. And so
You want to talk about your beers?
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to New Glarets for the Moon Man, which you did not enjoy. I
I
actually
did not.
did.
I did not try the stout.
The
Is that
coffee
good?
too. Yeah, it was all right.
All
And
right.
so this the Totally Naked, which I really
Totally
enjoyed.
Naked was good.
And then of course the Spotted Cow, which I of course enjoyed myself.
I'm shouting out to Blake's because their caramel apple was great. I shared one with Nick because I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I ran out of drinks because we went 3.5 fucking hours.
No, we only went 3 hours and 20 minutes. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
So
but he
far.
started drinking before the camera went on. I got out over 3 hours
Sure.
ago.
Mike, what do you want to say about your drinks?
Well, I started again with the Revolution Brewing, Freedom of Speech, the Peach Sour Ale, and then the Blake's one that I found is actually it's just called Estate, which is described as the truest expression of the apple. Our estate cider pays homage to the working farm and orchard it was born from, which is pretty good. It's a semi-dry, so it's not as sweet as other ciders, but they were good. And then I kind of intermingled that with some cider boys, and at a point I did have the Groovy Stout, which is the NA, because I felt I needed something that didn't necessarily add to my alcohol intake. But again, I have a very simple commute.
When you come up on Monday, make sure you bring those non-alcoholic IPAs because I think Jim is
I
joining
will
us.
bring
Ray,
those
if you're
for
bored
Jim's.
on Monday, we're
I
drinking
will
on the
not
porch.
drink those Untitled
We're doing
Arts IPAs.
On Monday?
Monday.
We're doing a podcast?
No,
Oh,
Mike
Ray,
and
were
I
you
are drinking on the porch with
City
Jim.
of Byron Center tap
So-
water.
Anyway,
Ray, did you drink anything?
Water.
Okay, she had water too.
Is
Oh,
it City
no.
of Byron Center tap water? It's fresh
Yes.
from the tap, like the Professor City
So
of
yeah, the professor had
Lansing
City of
tap water.
Lansing water.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
so like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family how much you love Bucks and Brews in our 3.5 hour episode.
Go give us some reviews
Yeah.
on your podcast.
Yeah, say if you can, right? We're on Stitcher,
Everything.
we're on Apple. We
Uh,
now officially
Pandora.
we now officially have
A
a
Discord.
new app called Discord.
Yeah, we're on Discord
Uh,
now.
Apparently you can talk to us direct, and
Yeah.
it's more
That's right.
fun
You'll
this
have to
way.
follow them on Discord.
I
It's
love
like-
Discord.
I'll
yeah.
send you the link, Ray.
Yeah,
And
these young kids.
we're on TikTok and shit too, so follow
So-
us there.
I'm going home, going to bed. Y'all take care.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. We'll be back next Wednesday because we can't do Tuesday. Are you good for Wednesday?
I'll figure it out.
I have a fantasy football draft on Tuesday. I can't do that shit.
Oh, I've got a fantasy football draft on Tuesday too.
Yes, you
don't I?
do.
Well, can't we do Bruce while we're drafting?
I mean, I technically we could, but I'm not going to pay any attention to what the fuck financial shit we're talking
We're
about.
doing a football episode.
We're hoping Wednesday we're at a talking to a brewer, but it might not be. We might have
What's
to
the
get
fee?
your guy
What's
next.
the fee this year for fantasy football? 20 still, or
Huh?
what was
Yeah,
it
20.
last year?
All right.
$20. So next going bye-bye. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week.
called in to Box and Brews, you might hear something you can use. Like tips under cash or tips on the suds. You're gonna want to use the smarts of these stuff. Cause they know the brews, and they know the box, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks. So listen up, cause shit's not funny. And save yourself some beer money. Bucks and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks
brews.
and brews.
Bucks and brews.